So first you have to create a folder, and this time I'm going to call swap token, and let's open this particular folder in your VS Code. So let's open your VS, go to the open and go to the desktop, go desktop, and I have to select the folder. So this is the one I have created. Now the very first thing you have to do is you have to get the starter file for the project, and which is already provided to you on the blockchain coder. So all you have to do is to come back, open a new tab and open the blockchain coder. Here you will find all the resources, all the project which we have built so far on our channel. Or you can check this particular course which I have launched, full stack NFT marketplace course, which controlled by totally smart contracts. So you can come and you can have a look at what exactly you're going to build. Just play this video and check out the modules that what you're going to learn. So this will teach you every single technology which you have to know as a blockchain developer. So make sure to come and check. Now come back here, go to the source code section. And from here you can download the starter file which we can start coding together. So here you will find all the project we have built on our channel. So make sure to come and have a look at what you have to learn, what you have to build, because we have a variety of project. Now you can do this, you can simply filter this recent project, and here you will find that the project we're going to build. So make sure to click on this get now, and here you will find the complete code and the starter file. So if you want to buy, you can buy it, but we're going to code everything from scratch. So click on the starter file, and we're going to copy this entire repository. So you can find all the structure which I have already predefined. So simply click on this URL and copy the URL and come back to your VS Code. Here we are, make on the big screen. Now open up your terminal. So let me simply drag on this. Let's open the terminal and we have to clone the repository. In that I have provided all the starter file, all the images, all the CSS, all the libraries we are using, including the packages. So make sure no matter when you are watching this project, you have to follow the exact step for doing the setup. So first thing you have to do is type git clone, and we have to clone the repository and give this dot. So this will clone the repository in the same folder. Hit enter. It's going to take few seconds, and here we have cloned the entire repository. So first thing we have to simply delete this git. Now let me give you a quick walkthrough that what we going to build and what is the structure we're going to follow throughout this entire project. So we have this component. Inside that you will find all the components we're going to build together from scratch. So we have this feature, we have footer, we have header, hero, and here we have this index. So I have already imported all this component into a single file, and from here we are exporting so we can receive and utilize this component in our application wherever we want. So we have all of this. I have already done the import for all of you guys, so you don't need to do anything in here. This is the platform, payload, everything you will find here. So that's all we're going to code it together. So that's the component. Now let's look at the context, because there is some important things I have provided. So open this context. In that you will find we have this ABI. So this is the first ABI. It's a ERC20 ABI which we're going to use for getting the information and performing the swap. And here is the normal ABI, and this is the custom ABI which I have designed, which we can use. So we can use both the one, but I have given you both so you guys can do the experiment. So close this one. So here we are in the constant, and here I have provided two important account which we're going to use throughout the entire project. So the very first thing we have is this P3 swap router address, and this router address is very important no matter which network you are testing your application, whether it's a testnet, mainnet, it has the same address in all the networks. So we are using this particular router address to perform the swap. And here I have taken another account. So this is the real account on Ethereum network, and this account has a lot of funds. So it has close to 24 ether, which we're going to use it because we're going to perform the fork and we're going to do all the transaction on the mainnet, not on the testnet. So this address is very important, which has a lot of fun and all the token, so we can simply test our application. So this is what I have given to all of you guys. And now come back to the context. Here we're going to build all the context management, including the functionality. That's all we're going to code it here. Currently it's empty, so close this one. Now we have the pages. Inside that we have these two pages, app.js. Here I have already done the setup for the library. So we are using some internal library, and these libraries is also provided to you in the public folder. So open this one. Inside this assets you will find all the libraries, all the CSS file which we using in this project. So if I open this one, in that you will find CSS, icon, images, and JavaScript. If you come back to the JavaScript, here you will find all the libraries, including the plugins which you are using for the slider and all. That's all is there. Inside that you will find all the thing. Got it? Here we have the bootstrap, jQuery, and main JS file. In that we're going to write some custom. So that looks good, and this is the plugin we have. So we have our JavaScript and we have successfully done the connection, means we have imported and connected with our application. So that's the setup I have already done, and this is the global CSS file which we have imported. So close this one. We are done with this app.js. Now come back to the index. And right now we have nothing in here. It's going to be a single page application. So we're going to call all the components right up here. Looks good. Now come back to the style. Let's go to the public. Inside the public, you will find that we have the images, all of that we have already seen. So come back here in the style. And here you will notice that I have imported all the CSS library which we are encoding, which we are utilizing for responsiveness, custom styling, animations, icon, bootstrap, normalize. That's all libraries you will find here. And that's coming from the public. So if you go to the CSS, there you will find all that. Looks good. And here I have written some custom CSS for just loader and few changes I want to add from my end. So that's all configuration I have done. You don't need to do anything. All you have to do is to simply call the classes, and which we're going to do it together. Now close this one, and here we have the unit test. So in this project, we're not going to write unit tests, but when you are working on a smart contract and building anything custom, it's very important that you have to perform that test. So the very first test we perform when we write the smart contract is the unit test. So we're not going to do that. So simply remove this one. Now we can come back to the utils. Inside that, we're going to build some utility function, one for getting an error. So if anything goes wrong in our application during the function call, so we have to catch that error and we have to display in the front end. So that's the logic we're going to build it here. So that's what we have. And here we have this configuration I have already done. So we're going to do all this transaction on the Forknet, which is going to be Ethereum. That's the configuration I have doing. So we have this forking, and this is the RPC endpoint which I am using. You can go with the same one. There is no problem in that. Does look good. Now we can come back here in next.config. So you can leave it as it is. If you want to call any external libraries and you want to import any external data, then you have to do the configuration. But in this, we are not doing anything like that. Now the main thing is come back here, and no matter when you are watching this project, you have to install the exact version, because whatever transaction, whatever logic you're going to build, it's going to be dependent on this particular version. So here we have all the script, and here we have the packages. So we are using Nomic Hardhat, Next.js, Toaster, and this is the Hardhat version I'm using. So this particular Hardhat is compatible with one specific node version. That's what I'm going to talk about. We have the Ether. We are using this particular Ether package. We have multiple, but we are using these two packages. And the rest of the packages are similarly the same. There will be changes in the version no matter when you are watching this project. But right now we have this particular version which is 100% compatible, which we're going to use it. Now close this one. Now we have seen all of this. Now we have to install all the libraries. So open up your terminal, and the very first thing you have to do is you have to check your node version. So type node-v. So right now Hardhat is compatible with this particular node version. So no matter when you are watching, after 5 years, after 10 years, if you use exact node version, it's going to work absolutely fine, because recently there is a node 20 which is not that compatible with the Hardhat, and it's going to not allow you to install all the Hardhat packages as a whole. So it will install individually. So that's going to create a huge mess, and that's going to create some webpack error, which I'm not going to cover. That's a separate topic. So make sure to install the exact version and it will fine. So if you are higher version, make sure to downgrade it to 18, or if you are using the lower one, make sure to upgrade to 18. This will work fine. You can also check your, so this one is the compatible right now. You can also check your npx version. So this is the version I'm using, which is really fine. So make sure to do this particular check. Once you are okay with this, now we can simply install all the libraries. So clear your terminal and type npm I or install. Both will work fine. And here you can see I'm getting this warning. It's telling me to upgrade. And the reason why I'm not upgrading my Hardhat package, because I have a couple of projects which is getting running, and I have to do those unit tests, and I want to use Hardhat extensively. So that's why I'm not upgrading, but sooner I'm going to upgrade this. But for the time being, I'm going with this particular version. So here we have installed all the libraries. Looks fine. Now clear your terminal. Now we can simply start the application. Type npm run dev. This will start the application on localhost 3000, and this is the command we have run. All you have to do is to simply copy this one and paste in your browser. So I'll come back, open a new tab and paste here, hit enter. And our application is working fine. So we have this index, means all the setups we have done so far, it looks absolutely great. Got it? Come back to the code, close this down, close this one. Now we can come back to the utils. And let's build out all those small functions which we're going to use it over and over again in our function. So let's work on the first. So let's build the utility function. So come back here. And the very first function we're going to build is called short address. So when we're going to get the data from the blockchain about the token, we don't want to display the entire address. It's going to mess our UI part. So we're going to make it short. So let's build that particular function. We'll say export const short 10 address, and in that we're going to receive address, and we have to simply make it short. So we'll take this template tutorial, we'll pass the address, we have to call the slice method, and we'll have to take the first 6 character of the address, then we have to take the last. So we'll take this address slice, and that we have to pass the address dot length, and we have to simply subtract with 4. So we'll get the characters. So it looks fine. This is the simple short address function we have. So once you will pass the address, it's going to make a short and it will display fine. Now let's build the second function which is going to catch an error and is going to format the error in a readable format so we can display in the front end when the user will transfer and anything goes wrong. So let's build that particular function. So let's call export const and we'll call it parse error message. And then we have to simply pass the entire error object. So we'll say error, E stand for error. In that we call this, take a variable called JSON. We'll call the JSON dot parse, and that we can pass this JSON dot stringify, and in that we can simply pass our error. So we'll have our data. Now we have to simply return and format that. So we have the data in the JSON dot reason, else we can go with the JSON error dot message. So make sure to give this question mark, because sometimes what happened that the data will take a little bit time, or sometimes the data is not there. So in that case, it will throw a component error. So it's better to put this to be on the safer side. And this is the only two function we have to add. This is the only two function we have to add. Hope you guys have written this two function. Now let's move to our context. So this looks fine. Now we can start working on our context. So before we start working on the context, let's work on the constants. So click on this. We have already these two address. Now what we're going to do is we're going to build a reusable model. So we need the reusable model for the Web3 provider because we want to make that connection with the MetaMask wallet, and we have to get the information about the user that who is connected. So let's convert that into a reusable model, and we have to also build a function which allow us to give the information about a token and some other information. So let's build that. So we can come back here. Let's do a couple of import. So first we have to import the Ether package, and we have to import the Ether package, not the package from Hardhat, because if you import the Hardhat Ether package, it's going to throw an error. So that's the thing you have to keep in mind. Now we have to import the Web3 model. So Web3 model, and that's coming from Web3 model. So a lot of you have told me that this particular package is depreciated, but as long as you use the exact version which I'm using in the project, it will work absolutely fine. Or you can build a custom model which allows you to connect with the blockchain, but I'm not going to cover that portion. Just go with this particular version and everything would be fine. Now we can come back here. Let's do a couple of internal import. First thing, we have to simply import the ERC20 ABI for the token, which I have already provided. So it's going to come from the same directory. So I'm going to take this one, ABI. So we have the ABI. Now we have to simply export it as a variable. So we'll say const ERC20 dash ABI to ERC20 ABI. So that's the one we have. So we got the ABI, we got the swap router address, looks fine. Now we can come back here and we have to build a function which allows to fetch the contract. So let's call that const fetch contract, token contract, and that we have to simply pass few things. We have to pass the signer or provider. Again, this particular function we are building is a reusable function. So all we have to do is to pass the address. Now we can come back here. We'll take this new ether dot contract, and that we have to simply pass the address, then ABI and the signer or provider. Let's call sign because that's what we have call and receive. So this is our fetch contract function we have here. Now we can come back here. Let's call export const, and we have to build the function for Web3 provider. So we'll say Web3 provider. It's going to receive few things. It's going to be an async function, and in that we're not going to receive anything. All we have to do is to simply return the provider. So we'll take this try and catch, and we can simply console log out the entire error object, Once we have that one, now we can come back here. Let's take a variable and we can use our web3 package. So we'll say web3 model, and we already have that. So take this small. It's a new web3 model. So web3 model, what we have called, it's called web3 with small w. Copy. So that's what we have called with a small w. Copy, paste here. Okay, web3 model and call it. So it will have the entire web3 model object, and on that we can simply call the function. So let's call the connection function. So we'll call connection, take a variable called connection, and we'll say web3 await web3 model dot connect. We have the connection. Now we have to simply build the provider. So that's very easy. We can take this new ether dot providers dot web3 providers. In that we have to simply pass the connection. So in that way we'll get our provider, and this particular provider is a dynamic one. You can go with the hard code, but this is the dynamic one. Now let's take the network, because we have to also pass down to our contract function in the Uniswap to know that which network the user have connected. So let's get that information, and this information is also available in the provider, so we can get that. So let's call this one network, and we'll say await provider dot get network. This will give you the entire object including the name and the chain ID, which we're going to utilize it. So we can come back here. Let's return the provider from here, provider, because that's the only thing we need. And what I can do is let's comment this one, because we are returning only provider, and this particular network we need in the token. So let's keep it like it. So this is our function for web3 provider. This looks fine. Now we have to build a function for connecting contract. So we'll say export cons connecting contract. It's going to be an async. In that we have to receive the address, means the address of the token. That's what we have. Now we'll take a try and catch block, and we have to catch an error if anything goes wrong. There it is. Now we can come back here and we have to do the same thing. We have to build the provider. So we can do one thing. We have already built the functionality for web3 provider, and I'm going to use this particular account because we're going to do the testing on the Forknet. If I go with the normal account which we are getting from the web3 model, our transaction will not work because it has no fund, so we cannot able to do the testing. So I'm going to use this one. But when you will deploy, we have to simply provide the actual address of the user who connected with our application. So I'll go and paste here. So this is the address I'm going to use it. Now I can come back here. Let's take the provider. So if I come back here we already have this and we are returning it. So we can simply call this provider. We'll say provider await web3 provider, call the function. We have the entire object of provider. Now we can come back here and we have to get the network because this is the one which we need, and uncomment this. Let's format this one. So we got the provider, we got the network. Now we can come back here and let's build the functionality. So we'll take this variable const signer, which is available in the provider, called get signer. So this will give us the signer. Now we can simply come here and take the contract. So we already have built the functions. We'll say await fetch contract. So we can simply call the contract function, and in that we have to simply pass the signer because that's what we are receiving, and we have to pass the address because this particular function can receive multiple token. We are not going with the fixed token. We are going with multiple token. User can take USD or a lot of different token, the blockchain coder token. So they can add any token address and it will give the information. So we'll get the contract, and all we have to do is we have to simply format this particular data. So we'll take this user address because in the real world, when we'll deploy our application, we have to pass the user address, not the fixed address. Right now we are doing on the Forknet, that's why we're going with the fixed address. But in the real world, we have passed the actual address of the user. So here we're going to take a variable called const user address, and this address is available in the signer. So we'll say signer.get address. So we have the address of the user. Now we can come back here. We'll take the balance. So we can check the balance of the user. So we'll say await contract dot balance, and in that we have to simply pass the address of the user. So I'm going with the account which we have taken as a test, not going with this one. So what I will do is so let's keep it as it is. Now we can come back here And let's take a variable called name, because we have to get all the information about the contract, means the token. So let's call this symbol. We'll call it contract dot symbol. Then we have to get the supply. We have contract dot supply total supply. Then we can take a variable called decimal await contract dot decimals. Then we can take a variable called address, and the address is available on contract dot address. So we have all this information about the token, which user passed the address to perform the swap and get the details. So we got all of these details. Now we can come back here and let's take it as an object. So we'll take a variable called token, and in that we can simply return as an object. So address, you can call address to be address. This will be the name. This will be the symbol. This will be the decimal. Then we have the supply ether, and we have to simply convert it. So we'll say format ether, in that we can pass the supply to string, and that's what we have here. Now we can simply replicate this and change this to, let's say, balance, and in that we can pass the balance of the user. So we'll say balance. So these are the data we are simply have in this token object. Now we can come back here. Let's take the chain. So let's call this chain ID, and we're going to test on the Forknet. So I will go with the default one, and one stand for Ethereum, but we have to make it dynamic as well. So we will take it as an, let's comment this one. Let's call this one, I'll say chain ID, and we'll say name dot chain ID. So in this way we'll have the chain ID of the network connected, because all this information about the network we have in this network object. So for the time being, let's comment this one. Looks fine. We got that all information. Now we have to simply return that, return token, and that looks fine. And that's the only thing we have to do here in the constant. We have built our reusable model. So we have these two packages. We have the ABI, we have the ABI and the swap router. That looks fine. Now we have this fetch contract. This is the Web3 provider which we're going to use, and here we have the connected contract. All we have to do is to pass the address of the token, and it will give us all the information. And we are using this particular test account. So what I will do is, this is the contract we are fetching, we are using that, and let's comment this one, because right now we are not utilizing. Comment this one. Looks fine. And that's the only thing. Come back here. Now we have to work on our context. Click here. Let's work on this particular one. We have to import a couple of libraries. So first we have to import the React, and then we have to import use state, and that's the only thing we have to import. Now we have to simply import the, let's say, ether package. Once we have the ether package, after that we can simply import the toaster, which will allow us to display the error message. We can simply import the JSBI, and it's coming from JSBI. So this will allow us to simply handle the big number. Once we have this, now we have done the all import. Now we can simply import the Web3 model, and that's coming from Web3 model. Now we can come back. Let's call this internal import, and here we have to import the Uniswap package. So the first one is going to be the swap router, that's coming from the Uniswap. So we have to go to this particular one, and here we have to do the changes. Now it will come from, let's say, it's there in the router SDK. Then we have to import the trade. We have to import this trade type. Then we have to import this ether. Then we have to import this token and current currency, a currency amount. Then we have to pass the percentage. So these are the methods we are using. First, trade token, ether token, currency amount, and percentage. So these are the simple method we have. All we have to do is to pass the relevant information. So if we pass the name, symbol, decimal point, and the address, it will give us the entire object of the token. So these are the imports we have. It's coming from SDK core. Now we can come back here. Let's import the trade, and it's coming from V3 SDK. Let's turn this to 2, and in that we have to simply import it as a, let's say, V2 trade, because we have to import the V3 as well. So let's call this V2. Now we can come back here. Let's do the import. This will call pool. Then we have to import this nearest usable tick. Then we have this tick mat, and we have this tick spacing. Then we have the fee amount, and the last one is this trade, and we have to import it as a V3 trade, and that's coming from V3 SDK. And the last one is going to be the route, and we have to import it as a route V3. Hope so far things are clear to all of you guys what we have done. So we have imported all of these libraries. Then we have doing the import of this Uniswap, all the methods from the library. So let's call this uni. Looks good. Here we have this SDK core. We have trade type ether. All of this looks good. Here we have this V2, and here we have the V3 SDK. In that we have got all this method. Looks fine. Now we can come back here and we have to import few more things. So we have to import the mixed route, and let's call this, and the method is mixed route trade. Yeah, that's the name we have. And this will come from a different location. So we have to get into this. Let's the router SDK, and we have to import the trade, and let's change this to router trade. There it is. Then we have to simply import the ABI of Uniswap V3 pool, and that's going to come from the same location. So we'll say Uniswap V3 core artifact. Then we have to go into the contract. Inside the contract we have this Uniswap V3 pool. Inside that we have to get the ABI. So there it is. There is the ABI of this Uniswap V3 pool. That's the import of the Uniswap contracts and the libraries. Looks good. Now we can come here. Let's do the internal import, like the function we have built in that. Let's import that. So in this we can simply call it, it will come from the slash constant. In that we have to build this function. So we have to simply import this ERC20 ABI. Then we have to import the Web3 provider, and the last one is going to be connecting contract. So these are the 3 imports we are doing. Now we can simply come down here. Let's import the utils function, and that's coming from the utils. Say utils slash index. We need to get the short address, and we have to get the parse error message. So this is all the import we have done, including the libraries and some custom functions we have built. Now we have to work on the context. So we'll take this export const. Let's call this context, and we'll use this create context. Now we have to simply do the export. So we'll say export context provider, and in that we have to simply pass the children, make it return, and in that we're going to simply build all the function and the logic. So first thing, we have to simply take a variable. So we'll take this token swap, and this is going to be the name of our application. So that's why I've taken this variable. I'll call it token swap Dapp. You can literally call anything to your application. So that's the variable. Now we have to take a couple of use state, and here we have to call this loader, because we have to define the loader when the transaction is happening. Then we'll take another one, and this will be called address, and that we want to take this address of the user. We have to take another one, and this will be called chain ID. By default we'll go with no. Then we can come here and we can call this notification. So let's build the notification. So we are using this library, toaster library. So we'll call this one const notify error. It will take the callback function. So we'll pass the message toaster.error. We'll pass the message, and we have to set the duration, that how long we want to display the duration. So it's going to be 4 seconds. Replicate it, change this to success, and change the method as well. So change the method as well. This will be success. So this is the 2 component, one for error, one for success. Now we can come here. Let's build out the function connect wallet function. So when the user will click on the wallet connect, is going to open the MetaMask. Let's build that variable called connect. It's going to be an async. We'll take this try and catch and come back here. Here we have to build the condition. We'll say if window.ethereum is not exist, means there is no wallet available, then we have to throw the error message. We'll say return notify error, and in that we can simply pass this install meta mask. If it exists, then we have to simply get the account. So we'll take this account and we'll say await window.ethereum, and we have to call this particular method request. In that we have to simply pass the method. This is the method we have available if we want to request. So we'll take this eth slash request account. So this particular method is going to trigger based on the click event. So there is a multiple option we have based on the user. When the user is opening your application, it will automatically trigger. So we have automated or we have a click event. So we are going with the click event. So it will give us the array of account because one user can hold multiple accounts, and that all will be available in the account object. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a specific one with the very first account, which user is connected. So that's pretty easy. We have to check for condition. We'll say if account.length exists, then we have to take the very first account and we have to set in our state variable. So let's make it capital and copy and change this to capital. So we're getting the very first account. Else means there is no accounts, then we can simply notify the error that there is no account. We'll say sorry, you have no account. That's a simple logic we have. Once we satisfy this condition, now we can simply check one more time. This looks fine. We're checking for the window object, then we are checking for our account, and on the base of that we are simply displaying information and setting in our state variable. Now we can come back here and let's get the chain ID. So we'll take this provider, we'll call our web3 provider. Remove this one. Don't need this because we already built this particular one, web3 provider. It will give us the provider. If you come back here, and this is the function we are calling, it will return the provider, and in that we can simply call for the network object. So that's the provider I have. Now I can simply call this network. I'll say await provider dot get network. It will give me the network object, and from there I can get the chain ID. So let's call this chain ID and set this chain ID to our state variable. And that's the only thing we have to do here. And if anything goes wrong, we have to simply catch that. So let's come back here. We'll take this variable called error, and we're going to call our function which we have built called parse error message, and in that we have to simply pass the error object. It's going to give us the error message, and that's the message we have to display in our notification error. So simply pass it, and that looks fine. Or we can simply do the console logout so we can see in our browser that what exactly went wrong in our inspect element. So this is the entire function for connect wallet. So it will work absolutely fine. When the user will click, it will going to open the MetaMask and user can connect. So that's the very first function. Now we have to work on the second function, which allows us to get the information about the token. So that's what we work on. Let's take a variable called load token data. It's will call load token. It's going to take the address of the token. We'll call it token. In that, we're going to take this try and catch, and we have to simply open this one, and we have to get this copy and paste here. And all we have to do is to simply call the function we have built. So we'll take a variable called token details await, and we have this particular function called connecting token. In that we have to pass the token, means the address. It's going to return the entire detail. We're going to simply return it from here, and that's the only thing we have to do. So this is the best way you can keep your function more clean, because most of the reusable model you have simply abstract and keep in different file. Just remember that we have to write the entire code in this particular single function. It would be huge and very messy. I try to break down the application in multiple sub function to writing a clean code. So we done with this particular function. So this two function is look fine. Now we have to build a couple of internal function, and after that we're going to simply build our actual swap function, because our swap function is going to be quite huge. We have to get the information about the like swap options. We have to get the information about the pools and availability, liquidity. So we have to get a lot of details before actually we perform the swap. So let's write those internal function. So let's come back here and let's build the internal function for our application. So looks fine. Now what I'm going to call it, let's call it internal function is going to be an async function. We'll call it get pool, and on that we have to simply provide the information about the token. So we're going to pass the token A, token B, and we have to pass the fee amount, and then we have to simply pass the provider. So these are the three information we're going to provide. So it's going to return the information about the token. So we're going to come back here. Let's take a variable called token 0 and token 1, because this is what we call on the network. If you go and look at the documentation, so we have this token 0 and token 1. Now this data is coming from here, so we'll call this token A, because we are taking the very first token in account for performing the swap. So on that, we're going to simply call this particular method called sort b4. In that, we have to pass the token B address, and we have to check for a condition. So we'll take this, we'll say token A, token B, else we can go with the token B and token A, vice versa. So this is the check we are doing. Simple. Again, I'm not coming up with this. It's everything is there in the documentation. From there, I'm getting it. It was in the TypeScript. I'm just converting into a JavaScript. So what we are doing, we are getting the information about token 0 and token 1, and we are using this token A because it has this method, and even the token B has the same method, and we are checking for the connections, vice versa. So this will give us the information about the token 0 and token 1. Once we have that information, now we can come back here. We'll take a variable called pool address, and we already have the methods called pool. In that, we have to simply pass the token 1, token 2. We'll pass the fee, and this particular method, pool method, we have already imported from the packages. That's why we are calling it. So it will give us the address of the pool. Once we have the address, we can simply pass to the contract. So we'll take this contract name and we'll call it ether contract. We'll pass the pool address, the ABI, and the provider. And this is how we can get the contract. So once we have the contract, now we can come back here. We have to simply take a variable called liquidity. We'll say await contract dot liquidity function. This will give me the liquidity. Now once we have the liquidity, come back here. We'll take another variable call is going to be a type of object, and this information we're going to get from the contract dot slot 0, and we're going to receive a couple of things because it will have few information. So the one we need is the square price 96, and we have tick, and it is x96. That's the method we have for square price. So let's call this x, capital X, and that's information is coming from the slot 0. So once we have this one, the stream information about the liquidity and the slot and tick, then we can simply come back here, take this liquidity, and we can take this JSBI, and we have to simply pass this big number and pass the liquidity, and we have to say string. Then we have to do the same thing from the square price. We'll take this big number and pass the square price 96 and convert it to a string. Liquidity and square prices looks fine. Now we can simply, we'll take a return, and we have to return a bunch of data. So we'll take this new pool, in that we can pass the token 1, the token 2, the fee amount, the square price, and we have to pass the liquidity and the tick. All of this information we are getting from this, and we are simply returning. So it will take an array. We'll pass this index called nearest usable tick, and then we can pass the tick math, and we can use this one tick min tick, and we'll call this tick spacing. This is the general convention we have to follow for performing the swap. You can go with the contract, but I just want to keep it simple so most of you can follow. And in that, we can simply pass the fee amount. Once we're done with that, now we can come back here and take the variable for liquidity as well. We'll call this liquidity net. We have the liquidity. Then we have to call this one, let's say liquidity gross. And here we have to pass this liquidity. Looks good. And I noticed one thing. So we have to take the data as a form of object. and here I have taken as an array. That's not good. So let's convert this into object, cut and paste here. And we have to take one more. So simply take this one and copy and paste here. And here we have to do the changes. So this is the liquidity. The tick spacing is going to be fine, and the amount is also going to be the fine in the index values. But here we have to do the changes in the liquidity gross and the liquidity net. So let's change this to JSB multiply. We can pass the liquidity, and we'll say JSB big int and -1. This is the setup. Looks good. Hope you guys can understand that what we have done. So we are returning all of this information. Now we can come back here, and we have to simply call the, let's console log out all this information. So when this particular function will trigger, so we can identify the, okay, this particular internal function is got triggered. So let's take this console log and let's call calling pool dash dash. That's the only thing we have to do here. So we are getting all of this information, then we are getting the information about the token, then we are passing that information to our pool function, which will give us the address of the pool. Then we are taking that pool address to pass in the ether package to get the contract. And then on the pool contract, on the pool contract, we are calling this method to get more information about the liquidity which is there in the network, and we are providing this -1. Looks pretty fine. So that's the first internal function we have. Now can come back here. Let's build another one. So this one we're going to call it swap option, and this one is going to be a very simple one. It will allow us to generate the options. So in that you can do a lot of customization, but I will go with the simple approach. I'll take a function called swap option. Is going to receive options. Both are fine. Once we have this option, now we can come back here and simply return. So we'll say object assign. In that we have to look for slippage, and I'm going to go with the hard code slippage tolerance. You can simply allow user to do the customization, but I'll go with 5% slippage because that's what we follow in the industry. I'll use this method called new percentage. We have already imported that. In that I will pass with 5%. So that's the simpler tolerance I will go with for being on the safer side, so the transaction will not fail. So that's the slippage. Now I can provide the information for the recipient. So I'm going to use the same hardcode recipient address which we have taken as a test. So I'll call this recipient. Let's call this recipient, and we have to get the address and we have to simply provide here. So let's come back here. We got the tolerance, we got the slippage, the recipient. Now we can simply provide the options, and that's the only thing we have to do here in the swap option. Looks good. We're going to check all of this data, that what exactly we are returning from each one of this function. We're going to test that out, and we're going to compare that as well. So this is the first one, this is the second one. Now we can come back here, and now we have to build the function to check whether the user is trying to do the swap on v2, v3 or multi, because right now we have these three: v2 Uniswap, v3 Uniswap or multi Uniswap. So that's all we're going to do the check. So it will automatically trigger that which one user is applying. So let's build that particular function called build trade. And here we're going to take a function called build trade. And here we have to simply call return new router trade. It's gonna be take object. So we'll call this v2 route. We'll take this trade. And in that we're going to simply call this filter function. And we have to simply search for the trade. And it's going to take the callback function. As you all know that filter will take the callback function. In that we have to look for the instant of, and we have to look for v2 trade, and that's the only thing we have to do. That's the first thing. Once we have the information, we have to simply learn a loop. So we'll call this map trade. It's going to take a callback function. In that we have to simply call this route v2 will take the trade route. Then we can take this input amount which is there in the trade dot input amount. Then we have to provide the output amount as well. So output amount, and there is the trade dot output amount. So this is the simple method which will give us all the relevant information about the v2 trade. What is the route, what is the input amount, and what is the output amount once you pass this particular trade. So this is for the v2. Now we have to do exactly the same thing for the v3. Copy and we have to simply paste here for the v3 as well. So paste here and change this to v3, and here we have to change this to v3, and the rest would be the same. So like change this to v3. That looks fine. Now we have to look for the multi. So let's come here, we'll type, simply copy this one and paste here, and let's do the changes. So let's call this outs, and here we have the trade, and I call it trade because it will have a lot of information. So let's call this trades s. Do the same thing here and do this here as well. So this would be fine, but here we have to do the changes. So this will be the trade, change this to mix route, and the rest would be fine. So it automatically identify that which trade we want to perform. I know it's little confusing if you are totally new to Uniswap and if you haven't watched the project we have built in the past about the DeFi project, then it can be a little confusing. But make sure to follow the project. You will understand everything when you will perform the swap. So we are done with this. Now we can come back here and call the last method called trade type, and it will be the trades, the first one, and we can simply call this particular method trade type, and that's the only thing. Again, if there is confusion, you can simply check the documentation about the packages. Everything is explained clearly, but I would encourage you to build the project and after that do the experiment with all this function and the method. There are tons of things that are available, but I will go with the simplest approach. So this is the entire function we have for build one. Now we're going to simply build our actual swap function. So let's come back here. Let's call this demo account, and we already have that account which we have taken. So here we have this recipient, and this account is already provided to you. So come back here in the context, and this is the account we're going to use. Copy and paste here. Now we can come back here. We'll take this swap function. Now we can start working on the swap function. So let's take a variable called swap. It's going to be an async function. In that we have to receive the information about the token 1, token 2, and we have to receive the information about the swap input amount which user wants to perform the swap. So these are the three information we're going to receive. Let's totally wrap this in a catch block, so if anything goes wrong we can simply copy that. So come here, copy this one, and that's what we can provide here. Looks fine. Now we can start working on the functionality. So first thing we have to simply console log out this calling me swap. So we can identify that we are calling the swap function. After that, we can simply come here and take a variable called input amount. So I'm going with the hardcode data, so we can test. So I'll go with 1 ether. I want to do the swap. Once I have the input amount which I'm going to provide, then I'm going to take another variable called provider. So we have to get the web3 provider. We already have that, so we'll call it web3 provider. Once we have the provider, now we have to simply get the network, because this information we also need to provide in the token object of Uniswap, so it can know that which token we are interacting on which network. So we'll say await provider dot get network. Once we have the network, then we can come back here and we can simply call this ether, and this is the special function we have on the Uniswap SDK. All you have to do is to pass the chain ID which we want to connect and perform the swap. Obviously, I'm not going to go with the dynamic. We're going to go with the hard code because we are doing on the Forknet. So I'll simply replicate this and I'm going to bring it back, and let's do one thing. Let's change this to 1 because we go with the Ethereum mainnet, and let's remove this. Okay, I know, change this. So we got our chain ID object, we got our network object. Now I can come back here and we can simply get the entire contract object of each token. So we can simply pass down that information. So let's call this token contract, and we have to get both the token. So come back here, let's call this token address 1, and we already have the function called await connecting with contract, and all we have to do is to pass the address. So I'll go with this empty for time being. Let's replicate that, and this will be 2, and this will return the entire object of the token. Remember, this is the internal function we have built, in that we have names, symbols, decimal point, supply, chain ID. That's all we have there. So come back here, we're going to simply call this particular one. So we'll call this token detail. So this is the method we have. So we can take a variable called token A, and all we have to do is to call the Uniswap method. So we have this new token, and that we have to pass all the information. So first thing is going to be the token 1 chain ID. Then we have to simply replicate it and provide that to address. This will be the decimal, this will be our symbol, and this is name. So this one is for the first token, copy and paste for the second token, change this to B, and this will be 2. Replicate it 2. In this way, we can generate the object for the Uniswap token method, which we can pass down into our function for performing the swap. Now we can come back here. Let's take a variable and we'll call this to with 2 USDC, because this is the 2 token I'm going to use for performing the swap. You can literally call anything, it's totally up to you, but this is the name I'm giving because that's the swap I'm going to do. And we'll call it V3. I'll say wait, get pool address. So this is the internal function we have built, and that we have to pass the information. So we can pass the token. So you can see this is token A, token B, that's all we have to pass. So let's call this token A, token B. Then we have to pass the amount, and this amount will go with the mid range, and we can pass the provider. So this method is there, we have the higher, but we are going with the mid range. On this particular function, we return the information about the pool, which will be available in with and that. So once we have that information, now we can simply come here and we can simply call this input amount. So in that we have to pass down the amount which we want to do the swap. So again, I'm going with the hardcore data, but when we'll deploy, we're going to make it dynamic. So we'll say ether dot utils, and we'll say parse ether. I'll go with 1, take it as a string, and we have to convert it for being on the safer side. So I'll go with 1 ether for swap. Once we have that, now we can come back here. We'll call it trade, await, v3, trade. We'll say form, route, and that we can simply call this new route v3. That's the method, and we have to simply pass the data as a form of array. So first one is going to be the with USD v3. Then we have to simply pass the ether, which is the chain object we have. Then we have to simply pass the token B, because that's how we're going to perform the swap from token A to token B. And we can come back here. We have to provide the currency amount, and we have to simply call this particular method called for raw amount, in that we can simply pass the ether and the input ether amount. Once we have that, now we can come back and define the trade type is going to be the exact input. This is the setup we have for the trade, and this will perform the trade. Again, we're going to see each one of this object that what we are getting when we start calling the function. But let's work on the function first. Once we have that, once we have the trade, we can come here. Let's take a variable called router trade, and in that, what we're going to do is let's take this build function, the internal function we have build trade. In that we have to simply pass the trades. It's going to return the trade, router trade. Then we can simply come back here. We'll take this options, and we already built this particular function called swap option. In that we're going to simply pass the empty object. Again, you can pass the data like recipient, because that's what we are receiving, but I'll go with the empty approach. So if I take you here, like this is the load, this is the option we are passing, and this is the recipient you can also pass to make it dynamic. Looks fine. Now we can come back here. Let's build the params, because this params, it's very important. We have to pass down the information. So we have this method on the swap router called swap erc20 call parameters. In that we have to pass the router trade option. It will return the params. Once we have the params, now we can simply come down here and we can take the, let's say, console log out the with USDC. So all the data we'll get, let's replicate and just simply log out in our terminal. So router trade, this will be the option, this will be the params. So we can see what exactly data we are getting before we actually perform the swap. So we have that. Now we have to, let's do one thing. Let's check the balance. So let's call this ether balance, and we'll say await provider dot get balance. In that we have to simply pass the address. So we are going with this recipient because this is the test account we are using on the Forknet. Now we can come back here. Let's call this let token A, token B, and we can also come back here and let's do one thing. We can take this ether balance and let's cut this one and paste here because this one is going to update before the transaction and after the transaction. So let's go with this approach. Now let's get the balance of the token A. So we'll say token address balance. Now only balance, replicate this, and this will be token 2. And once we have the token A, token 2, now we can come back here and we can simply console before, and here we can simply console log out the information. So like let's console log out the ether balance which we already have there. Let's convert that to in a format utils. We'll say ether and copy and paste here. Okay, bring it back, copy properly and paste it. So this will give us the ether balance and we have to provide the decimal point. Now we have to do the same thing for the different, like the both the token. So let's change this to token A and this will be token B, and this is B, this is B. Looks fine. Now we can come back here. Let's build the transaction object to perform the transaction. We'll say await signer will signer, and on that we have to simply call the method called send transaction. In that we have to simply pass the data which is available to params dot call data. Then we have to pass the to where we want to receive. Then we have to pass down the value which we already have. So I'll go with the param dot value, and we have to receive the from address which is going to be the recipient. So this is our transaction object. So I'm come here, copy the same address, and that's what I'm going to provide because when the user will make the transaction, the token will return back to the user. So let's paste here. Good. So this is before, when this is the transaction will happen. Now copy and paste, and let's change this to calling me. Come back here and let's get the receipt of the transaction. We'll say receive await receive transaction dot wait. So once the transaction will complete, we have to wait for that. Once the transaction will complete, we have to simply log out the status. So I'm going to simply call this one to success, and let's change the, we'll call it status, and this information is there in the receipt dot status. Got it? Looks fine. Once we done with this one, this is the, then we have to check for the balance one more time. So simply copy this one and come back and paste here. So we have to recheck the balance one more time. Got it? Here we have the B, copy, paste here. This will call after. And this is the entire thing we have to do for swap function, and it will work absolutely fine. Right now we cannot test this particular function on the front end because we don't have the special method, and that particular special method is only available in the Hardhat ether package, not in the normal ether package, which I will show you. Just wait. So that's the first thing we have. We are getting the amount. You can also get this amount from the front end, and here we have the chain ID. So when you will do on the mainnet, you can get the chain ID from this one, but here we are going with the hardcode one because we're going to test on the Forknet. And here we have to provide the address of the two token which we're going to receive from the user. And here we are building all the methods, configuring, passing down the right information, and simply consoling and build the transaction object. And then we are checking for the state and whether transaction was success or not. So we're done with this all functionality. Now we have to simply return down all the function we have built so we can connect in our front end. So let's call this context provider. This is the same architecture we have follow in all the project. Let's close down that. Let's pass the children. And here we have to pass the value. So all the function we have built. So it's going to be an object type. So the first one is going to be the drop a token swap, means our Dapp name. The second one is going to be the load token, notification error, notification success. We'll have set loader, we have loader, we have the connect wallet, and we have the address, we have the swap. So these are the function we are exporting. Looks fine. So we are done with this entire thing. Hope you guys have understood that what exactly we have done. So this is the entire swap option function we have. This is the build trade, and this is the swap function which we're going to attach in the front end so user can perform the swap. Now, to test this out, what I'm going to do is let's test this out internally, because right now we cannot connect this particular function to the front end because we don't have that particular method in our normal ether package which make any account as a signer. Right now the account I'm using, I don't have any fund in that, so that's why I cannot do the testing. But Hardhat give you a special method in their ether package which you can use it to connect any account as a signer, and you can perform the swap on the fork network. And that's what I'm going to do it to show you that this script is working absolutely fine. So what we can do is come back here, let's create a new folder in the main directory, and let's call this fork. Cut this one, and let's get into this particular folder. So type cd fork. Once we are here, now what we're going to do is we have to take this package like ether, like packages of file, simply copy, and that's what we can simply paste here. So we got all the packages, exact packages. Now we have to create a folder. So let's create a folder called script. In that we're going to write this script. We're going to simply copy paste the same script we have built, and let's create a file inside the script folder called deploy.js, because in this script folder we can only use that Hardhat special method called impersonate. So looks fine. Now we have to simply install all the packages. So let me quickly do that. We are installing all of this library, and finally we have successfully installed. You can see it took me like close to 1 minute to do the installation, and I have the entire package. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply cut this one, come back to the con here, copy this one, this ABI, and that's what I'm going to simply paste here so we can do the swap. So we have the ABI, close this one, and now what I'm going to do is let's come back to the context and get this entire script. So let me quickly copy this entire and do the little bit modification, because in our Hardhat we cannot use the import model, we have to go with the normal module. So finally I have copied the entire code and pasted here in the deploy.js file, and I have done the modification. Instead of import module we are going with a regular expression. So let me show you. So here we can see, here we have the ABI which is working fine. This is the ABI we are using. We have simply copy, and that's what we have pasted here. And here this is the Hardhat config file. So I have simply copied the Hardhat config file and I have pasted here so we can test that on the fork network. So this is the one more thing you have to do. And here we have installed all of this library together. This is also working fine. Now let's come back to the deploy script and let me explain you. We are using the same packages, same library. All I have done, I have simply changed the import module to a normal module. So this is the swap router we have. We have the trade type, ether, token, currency amount, and percentage, which is coming from SDK code. And this is the swap router, and this is the SDK code import. Now we have this V2. We have done the same thing, trade, V2, trade. Then we are getting this V3. We are getting the pool, nearest usable tick mat, tick spacing, fee amount, and we have the trade and router 2. Then we are getting this mix route trade, and router tree. And here we are getting this pool ABI. And here we have JSBI for big number, and here we have the ABI of our contract. So this is the one we have imported. And here we are using this Hardhat, and we are using this Hardhat provider which allows to automatically connect with the fork network. So this is also working fine. So this is the configuration the two state variable have added. I've imported Hardhat, then I'm using Hardhat to connect with the provider. And here I have taken the same ether. I've got the chain, the very first chain. Here we have that one, the chain ID. And here we have the two token. So we have the width. We have provided the chain ID, the address of the token, the decimal point, the name and the symbol. This is the second token, which is the USDC. And here we are simply calling the contract of both the token. We are passing the information. This is the width contract, and this is the USD contract. This is the exact thing we have done. And here we have this two internal function, like three internal function. So this one is the get pool. I haven't done any changes in that. It is exactly the same. We are getting all the information about the pools, and that's what we are returning right up here at the end. Close this one, and here we have the swap. Again, it's exactly the same. And here we have the build trade, and this is exactly the same. There's no changes. Got it? I hope you guys can appreciate. And so I hope you guys can understand that what are the changes you have to do. And here we have the address of the recipient. And this is the main function we have, which we're going to perform the swap. Method is only available in this particular deploy script. So we are using Hardhat. We are using Hardhat Ether, and this is the function. We cannot call this function in our front end because the webpack is going to create a problem. So this function can only be called internally. So that's why we are calling this function inside the deploy. So this get impersonate signer. So what this function does, like you can take any account on Ethereum network and you can simply pass that account address in this and it will create the signer object. So you can simply do the fork testing on the network. Again, let me repeat what this particular function does. This particular function is not available in a regular Ether package. It's only available in the Hardhat Ether package. And this particular function will convert any address and create a signer object. And this signer object, we're going to utilize it to make the transaction on the fork network as an owner of this particular address. Hope so far things are clear to all of you guys that what I have done and what I'm explaining to all of you guys. This method is not available in our front end component context. That's why we have to do is internally. Once we have the sign-on, again, we are doing this exactly the same thing. We are passing the address of the two token, details of the two token and amount, which is the medium. And here we have the input amount. So let's go with 1. I was testing. So let's convert it to 1 instead of 10 ether. And here we have the trade exactly the same. Here we have the like build trade, swap options. Here we have the params, and here we are simply consoling log out that all. So I have taken this ETH balance, and here we have this WETH balance and USD balance, and that's what you have taken in our front end called token A, token B. So it's exactly the same. We are simply consoling log out the address, the balance of the token, and here we have the transaction object, exactly the same. And here we have build the script. We are simply consoling log out all the object of each one of this variable type, which we're going to get. Then we have again simply getting the balance and checking the balance once the transaction will complete. And after that, we are simply consoling logging the balance. And this is the simple script we have to run. And this is once the transaction will complete, we have to stop our application, our function to continue. Looks fine. So far, things are pretty good. No more issue we have. And if I simply copy the address and paste here, you can see this particular account has a lot of fund. So right now, this account has 24 ether. That's a lot of money. And it has close to 200 tokens in this particular address. And it's quite huge. So this particular user is really very rich and has a lot of fun in that. So it looks pretty fine. And that's what we're going to test it. So I'm going to use this one. So let's perform the swap. So far things are good. Now we have to do is simply copy this one, open up your terminal, and all we have to do is to simply run this particular command. So paste here. Make sure you have to be into the fork folder, sorry, fork, F-O-R-K, fork folder, and paste and hit enter. And this is going to perform the testing on the fork network. Again, on the main network, and we are doing it on fork. So you can see the transaction went through. The transaction went through successful. So this is the balance, exact balance what we have seen on Etherscan. So this is the ETH balance we have seen. This is the WETH balance, and this is the US. This is the before balance, like 81 USD token this particular user has. But after transaction, you can see all of this data, pool details, the transaction logs which we have done, and that's there. And here we have the after the transaction is completed. So the ETH balance went down to 21, like 23. It was 24. And you can see the WETH balance is still 165, but our USD balance went up to 2,299. Earlier it was 81, but right now it's 2,229. So it went up. So let me do one thing. Let me simply comment this one. Now let's do one more transaction. So replace that and let's change the ether. So this time I want to spend 10 ether. So let's change this to 10 and let's perform the swap one more time. Hit enter and you can see our script is working fine. Here we got the balance, the previous balance before, and this is the after. So we have swap 10 ETH with USD. You can see that looks pretty beautiful. Okay, it's went up to 2228, and this looks good. I hope you guys can appreciate, and this will work for any token. All you have to do is to pass down the relevant information about the token which you want to perform the swap, and provide all this relevant details which we have already built as a dynamic one in our context. So here we have already done that, and this is the exact thing we have done. So we have imported this, we have all of this imports. You have the interports, there we have this one, notification, contact, load, get pool. This is exactly the same thing, the two token, fee, amount. Then we have the swap options, build trade, exactly the same. Here we have the recipient, and we are getting this token 1, token 2, and swap amount. And here we don't have the signer, so we cannot test this in the front end on the fork network, but it will work fine on the mainnet. So this is good, exactly the same. I have simply copy and paste the address of both the token. So this is the width and this is the USD. This is the router 10, and this looks good. This is the one we have, params, the balance of token A, token B, and here I have done the change to token A and token B. Earlier it was token A, token A, so make sure to do the change. Transaction object, this is also fine and looks good. I hope you guys can appreciate that how things are coming together. So the script we have built, the libraries we have utilized, every single thing is working fine. Looks good. Come back here, and we are done with this entire context. Now what we're gonna do is we have to do the setup. So let's close this one and come back. This is the deploy script we have built. So we have already tested that. So close this one, close this fork as well. Now come back to the pages, and I have already done the configuration because I was stuck for a while when I was doing all those configuration. And here you can see this is the configuration. This is very basic. We have to import our provider and toaster, and that's what we have to simply configure. We have this provider, we have this toaster, and that's what we have to simply provide here. Got it? Now we can come back here, and now we can start working on the front end. So let's come back to the index, and let's build this particular one very quickly. So let's come back, open up your terminal, simply clear it, get out of this fork folder, come to the main directory, and simply start the application on npm run dev. This is the application is running, copy, come back here, reload the page, and our application is looking fine. We have this good. Now we can come back here and let's test out our context. So let's import that very quickly. So we need this use state, use context. Then we can do the internal import. Then we say import from .just / component index. Then we can simply import all of this component, copy and paste here. That's what we have here. Let's do the import, and this one is coming from /context/context, and in that we have to receive the context, and let's receive all the function we have built. So we'll call this use context, pass the context, and come back to the context and simply copy all of this which we have exported. Copy this one and simply receive it. So let's check it out. So we have this particular variable, so it's fine. Let's call this open token. Let's take the couple of state variable, open token component. So we'll say use state. Let's call this use state. This one will be token 1. This will be token 2, and we have to change this to, this will be our open token. By default will be false. Then we can come here, let's take this input. So these are the dummy I'm taking just for testing purpose. So we'll take another one. This will be called the slippage, but in the project we will go with the hardcode data. I don't want to create any problem because sometimes the user do experiment, so that's why I'm going with the hardcode slippage. But if you want, you can provide that option. So slippage, by default I will go with 2. Then I'll go with the deadline. Deadline is minute is going to be like something like 10. 10 minutes. And I can also go with the amount. So input amount, this will be input amount undefined. And let's call this output. And as an output, we're going to take output amount and it will be undefined by default. Then we can come here and we can take this transaction. It will be undefined and we have to get the ratio. Ratio. It will be undefined and let's make it capital. Good. So these are the variables we have taken. This is the imports, component import, context import, and we have this state variable which we have to fill out. Now we have this token swap. Copy this one and let's test this out whether we are getting the data or not. Paste it, save it, come back here. Here we have token swap Dapp. Looks pretty good. Come back here. Come back here and here we have this. Remove this one. Now let's work on this index page and let's do the setup very quickly. So we'll first take this pre-loader component. Inside that we'll take this header component and let's send the props. So we need the address. Once we have the address, then we have to take the connect function as well, the wallet connect function. Then we can come back here. Let's take the hero component. In that we have to send a lot of props. So this one is going to be set input amount. Then we have to send this loader. Then we have to set this set open token. Then we have to take this load function. Then we have to paste this token 1, token 2. Then we have this set token 1 to set token 1. This is the set token 2 to set token 2. We have the swap. We'll say swap. These are the props we are sending in our hero component. Now we can come here. Let's call the feature. Then we have the next component is going to be a platform. Then we have the statistic. We have the security. Then we have the testimonial. Then we have the footer. Now we're going to have the dynamic components. You can see all the components are reflecting fine. We have to work a lot of components. Now we can come back here. We'll take a open token. If that's true, then we have to display our dynamic component. So we'll take a div and we're going to take the class called new loader. Inside that we're going to take our component called token and let's send all the props. So the props is going to be the notification error. Then we have the success notification. Then we have the function as well and the state variable as well. So we'll say set open token to set open token. Then we'll take this load token. Then we have the set token 1. Then we have this set token 2. Then we have token 1. Then we have the token 2. And we have this. Looks good. Let's turn this false. So if I come back here, you can see this is displaying fine. Now I can come back here and remove this. This looks good. Now the very first thing we're going to work on is preload component. So like this is the one we're going to work on. So let's quickly work because it's a very simple one. After that we're going to work on the header. So let's come back here. Let's make it side by side so we can see what exactly we are working on. So this looks fine. Let's make it side by side and bring it here. And it's going to be a very small loader component. So let's take a class. It's going to be a preloader. There it is. Inside that we're going to take a div. It will have a class called preloader dash inner. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called preloader dash icon. Inside that we're going to take the two spans. Take the another one and there it is. You can see our loader is working fine and that's the only thing we have to do. So whenever the page will reload, this loader will reflect. There it is. Just reload. Here we have that one. Beautiful. So now we have to work on our header component. So let's come back here. So we're going to go very quick with our JSX and front-end component. So let's make it side by side. Close this one. Close this one. Let's work on this component header. This is the hero, but we want to work on the header. So simply copy, get into the header components, and we have to receive the props. Let's replace this one and replace this one. Looks fine. We got this. Now we have to simply do the internal import. In the internal import, we have to receive the utils because we have to make a address short. So we'll receive this short address. Now we have to simply come back here. We'll take the class main menu. Inside that, we'll take a nav bar. It will have a class called nav bar expand large. We'll say nav bar dark. Inside that, we'll take a div. It will have a class called container. Inside that, we'll take a anchor. We don't need, we have to redirect to the home page. It will have a class called navbar brand. Inside that, we'll take a image. It will have a assets image, and we have to get our logo.png. There it is. It will have a, I will say all span. Now we can come here. We'll take a button. It will have a couple of properties. So we'll have a class called navbar dash toggler. It will have a type button. It will have a data attribute to data bs, and we'll say toggle. Make sure to give the exact data attribute name because that's what we are calling in our JavaScript. And this will be collapse. The second one is going to be the database. This will call target, and here we have to provide the ID. So the ID is navbar nav drop down. Then we have to give the aerial controls. In that, we have to provide the navbar nav drop down, the ID. Then we're going to take this aerial expanded. By default, we'll call it to false. And the last property is going to be aerial label. And this will be toggle navigation. This is the button and all the property. Now we can go into the button and let's take this span. It will have a class called navbar toggler icon. There it is. The icon is displaying fine. You can see. Beautiful. So we got the button icon. Now we can come back here and we can take a, let's take a div. It will have a class called collapse navbar collapse. It will have an ID called navbar nav drop down. Inside that, we can take this UL. It will have a class called navbar nav. Inside that, we'll take a li. It will have a class called nav link, or let's say we can call it nav item. Inside that, we can take this anchor and we can do one thing. We have to take our menu. So for timing, let's call it home. It will have a class called nav link, and I can call it, let's make it, change this to, yeah, this looks fine. That's how it's going to look on the desktop. This is how it will look on mobile. Click and expand and we'll say home. If you click, there it is, home. So our menu is looking fine. Now we can come here. Let's take this area of object. So we'll call it menu is going to be an area of object, and that will have the entire menu. So this will be the name, is going to be home, and we'll have a link which is going to be an ID. So we'll call it home. Replicate it a couple of times and simply change this to about us. This will be about. Change this one to how it works, and this will be how works. This will be our Q&A. This will be, let's call it question, and this one is going to be called blog. This one is blog, and we can have one more. Simply replicate this one, and this will be called contact, and this will be contact. So we got this array of menu. Simply render that. So we can come here. We'll take our dynamic block menu map. We'll say item index, and we have to make it instant return. Simply cut, paste here, and there it is. You can see now. Simply provide this item. We got it name, change this to like item dot link, and there it is. Our menu is ready. Absolutely fine. We let's assign a key to index. Let's call this item dot name. So this looks good. Beautiful. So our navigation looks pretty fine. We are done with that. We can come here. We can take a button. We'll say if address is there, then we have to display the user address, or we can simply display the current wallet button. So let's come here. Let's build that button. So we'll take a button. We'll have an on-click function, and in that we can simply call the correct function we have built. It will have a class. Let's call this class to new button, and cut this one and paste here and paste here, and simply remove this, and here we can add the button to name connect, and here we can add the address of the user. So let's call the address. So we already have the short function, shorten address function, and we have to pass the address, so it's going to simply short that. Otherwise we can go with no address. Looks good, and that's the only thing we have to do here. Looks absolutely fine. I hope you guys can appreciate that how things are coming together. Now let's make on the big screen and let's test this out. Close that one, and here we have that. The over effect is working fine. If you click, it's going to open MetaMask, means our function is working fine. I have this two wallet installed in my browser, like Phantom wallet for Solana ecosystem and MetaMask. So I'll go with the MetaMask, and here I'm opening. Let me give my password and click on this, and here I'm getting this error. I know why I'm getting this one, because I have taken a condition. If I click connect, I will get an error. So all you have to do is to come back here, and we have to do the changes in our short function. So like you can see, we are getting this short, we are passing the address. This is fine. There is no need to do the changes. All we have to do is to remove this one. So remove this section, because it's going to be a conditional rendering. So we don't need to build a extra condition on that. So this time it worked fine. Click, and here we have the address and it's reflecting fine. So this looks good. I hope you guys can understand that how beautifully and how quickly we have built this two component, preloader and header. Now we're going to start working on the next component, which is the hero components. So simply copy this one, and that's what we're going to simply receive in our hero component. So come back here and let's receive the props. I'll paste that, and I'm going to simply remove, 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 remove this one, change this one, and this one, and last one is this. Welcome back once again. So this is where we left in the last video, and looks fine. So what I can do, I can close this down, close this one, and now we can start working on the footer before we start working on the hero section. So come back here in the footer, and this is what we're going to work next. So open up your terminal and let's start the application. So type npm run dev. This will start the application. Now come back to the browser, click here, and here you can see our application is working fine. You can simply click and connect the wallet. Just give the password, unlock, and just wait. And here we are connected with the application. So far things are looking pretty good. Now let's make it side by side so we can see what exactly we are working on. So let's start working on the footer component. So we'll go a little faster here because this is just a JSX we're going to write. So we can come back here, let's give the classes. So we'll say footer. So let's add a style. We're going to have a background image. So let's say style. It will say background image, and we already have the image in the public folder. So we'll say URL, and let's provide the path of the image. So the image is inside the assets slash image slash footer dash background, and it's a PNG image. There it is. Now we can come back here. Let's take a div. It will have a class called container. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called row. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called call 12 wo, and we'll have this animation fade in up. Inside that, let's add the duration and delay as well. So let's call this one data wo duration, and it's going to have close to 3 seconds. Then we'll have a data wo. It's going to be have, let's say, 0.2 second. Let's get into this div. Now we'll take a div. It will have a class, we'll call it top. Inside the div we'll take a div. It will have a class called logo. In that I will going to display the image. So there is a logo we have, png, there it is. Now we're gonna simply come out of this div and let's take anchor. It will have a class called button one, and we have to give our text, so get in touch, there it is. Looks good. Now we can come back here, leave three divs and come down. Let's take a div. It will have a class pro justify content between. Then we'll take a div. It will have a class call large 2, call medium 6, and we'll have a wo fade in up. It will have the duration, so we'll say duration, and we'll say 0.3 second, and we'll have a delay. So data wo delay is going to be like 3 seconds. So that's the animation we have. Let's open this up. Let's take a div. It will have a class called footer box. Inside that we're going to have this h4, have a class called last head. In that we'll say company. Then we can come back here, we'll take a ul and we're going to simply render the menus. So let's take a class called footer link. Inside that we'll take a li. Inside that we'll take an anchor, and we'll have the call about us. And let's take this dynamic block and we could simply render it. So let's take an array and we'll say about us, then we'll call it contact us, blog, affiliate, and the last one, let's keep it 4, and we have to simply render it. So we'll take map item index, it's going to be an instant return, cut and paste here, and change this key and change this one to item. So there we have all the list. So this is the very first section of our menu. Now we can simply do one thing. Looks good. Now we can simply leave this to div, and this is the one we have. So simply copy this one because we're going to have 3 sections. So copy, paste here, and we can do the changes only in the title and the array. So change this duration to 4. This will be support, and we have to change this menu. So it's gonna be FAQ. This will be contact time. This will be how it work, and the last one will call it something like details. There it is. We got that. Now we're going to simply have one more time. So simply copy and we can paste here, and let's change this to 5. This will be call policy, and this will be term and term of use. This will be privacy policy, refund policy, and we'll have a money type. There it is. We have all the list of menus. So this is the 3 section we have. Now we can simply copy and paste, and here we're going to do the changes. So we're going to send this to news letter, and we're not going to have this ul. We're going to simply remove this one, and we're going to have this form, and let's assign, take a div. It will have a class, call it form group, and inside that we'll take this input, change this to email. We'll say placeholder enter email address. Now we can take the button, type is going to be submit. We'll take this button 1. Inside that we can say join now. So you can see there is a button down below. Now this looks good. I'll simply do one thing. I'm going to close this one, and here I'm going to display the icons. So let's display that. We'll take a div. It will have a class called social style. Inside that we're gonna take the anchor, and here I'm going to assign the classes. So we'll take this icon, we'll say fab Facebook. So simply replicate this couple of times, and all you have to do is to change this icon. So this is Facebook. Down below you can see the icon is not displaying, but you can see the box, it's not displaying. So what I'm going to do is, let's build the structure. We're going to use the React icons instead of going with this font awesome icon. We're going to do the changes. So let's change the name for time being to see what we have to replace with. So this will be called Pinterest, and this will be called Google Plus, and the last one is going to be Instagram. So these are the icon we have to attach. So just keep it as it is for time being. Now we can simply do one thing, come back here and let's work on the copyright. We'll take a div, it will have a class called row. Inside that we'll take a div, it will have a class. Let's call it call 12 text center wo fade in up. Inside that, so we already have the duration and delay, copy this one, and that's where we can simply apply it. And I want to have this to 4. Inside this div, we can take a div, it will have a class called footer button, and inside the div we will take a p tag and it will have a class called text. We'll say copyright and we'll give this copy HTML copyright tag, and we'll say take anchor, we'll say the blockchain coder. That's the first, and I can also display that. So we'll say blockchain coder. There is, you can see down below we have that. Now let's add one more and I can display the date. So let's call this 2024. There it is, looks pretty fine. If I make on the big screen, you can see that there it is. So we have the copyright, blockchain coder developer, and footer. So this footer is quite good, but our newsletter is not perfectly aligned. So this is the one fix we have to do, and we have to fix our icon as well, but the over effect is working fine. Come back here, and here I can see the problem. So make sure to change this to 5, and this will fix the issue. So now it will take the full space and we have the icon and over effect is working fine. So we're done with this section. If we come back to the React icon, go to this page, here you will find all the icons which you can utilize for the social media. So we're going to use that. Now come back here. So we are done with this entire footer component. I hope you guys have understood that how we have executed and built this particular section. Now come back here, go to the pages. So here we are in the index page, and now we have to work on the hero component. So this is the one which we're going to work on it now. So let's do one thing. Let's try to build the basic functionality. So we already have this React and all the props we have received. Now let's import few things from React: use state and use effect. Now we can come back here, let's import the icon. So this one is coming from React icons IO 5, and in that we're going to simply take this close outline. We got the state, we got the icons. Now we can simply come back here, and here we're going to take this reset button, because we're going to have a button which user will click and it will reset all the value for the swap. So let's take that. So we're going to build this function called reset, and all we have to do is to simply reset our functions, reset the states. So we'll say set token 1 is going to be empty, and we have to do the same thing for the token 2 as well, empty. So this is the reset button we have. Now let's make it side by side because we have to work on the JSX. So let's drag it here. Looks fine. Let me bring it. Now we're going to work on the very first section, the home section. You can click and it's opening. Beautiful. We have this button. Nice. Close this one. Now come back here. Let's take the classes. We'll call it banner. Will have an ID, so when the user will click on the menu, it will take to that particular section because it's a single page application. So ID is going to be home. It will have a style. We're going to have a background color. So background image, we'll say UL assets /image/banner bg PNG. There it is. You can see the background image is displaying fine. Now looks good. Now we can come back here. Let's take a div. It will have a class called illustration. Inside that we'll take the image and we'll have to go into the assets image, and then we have to take the banner bg1 PNG. There it is. Looks fine. So this is the first image we have, and let's add the class to 1. And we're going to have 3. So simply replicate this 3 times and change this 2. And this will be 2. And this will be called map. And this will be 3. So it will reflect fine on the mobile device. The other 2 images we are hiding on mobile, but it's going to be displayed on the desktop. So looks fine. So this is the first illustration section we have. Now we can come back here. Let's take a div. It will have a class called hero. Area, inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called container. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called row. Align, items, center, justify, content, between. And inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called column, excel, 7, call, large 6. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called banner, content, wo, fade in, up. Now it will have the data with attribute for the animation. So we'll say duration is going to be 0.5 second, and we'll have the delay as well. So we'll say data wo delay. That will also going to be this 3 second. Inside the div, let's take a h3 and we can display the class called subtitle. We'll say subtitle. It will say fast and convenient. Then we take this h1. We'll say head. It will have, we'll call it cryptocurrency exchange. Then we can come back and take a paragraph to display our short message. We'll say take this dummy one, and I'm going to simply remove this one. So this looks fine. Now we got the heading, we got the subtitles, we got the paragraph. Now we can come back here, live to div. We'll take a div. It will have a class called call excel 4, call large 6, wo, and the class we're going to apply fade in right b, and we have to set this duration. So delay is going to be 0.3, and we have to attach the duration as well. So this will call something like let's go with the 0.5 second. So that's the delay effects we're going to have. Now we're going to take this div. It will have a class called exchange. There it is. Inside that we'll take a h5. We'll have a class called head. We'll say cryptocurrency exchange. Then we can take a div. It will have a class called exchange box. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called selector. Inside that we'll take a p. It will have a class called text. Inside that we're going to say your change. Looks fine. That looks good. Now we can come back here. Let's take a div. It will have a class called coin. Inside that we'll take a span, and we have to display the data which user will select, means the token symbol. So right now we don't have, that's why it's not displaying, but when the user will select the token, it's going to reflect the token symbol. Now we can come back here. We'll take a div. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called form group. Inside that we'll take a span. It will have an on-click function, and on the on-click function we have to simply open the token search component. So we'll say set open token to true, and we'll say open. Now we can come back here. We'll take an input, and here we're going to display the text, and we'll take the placeholder to be token 1 symbol, else we say select. There it is. So if the token exists, then display the symbol, otherwise we have to display the select. Let's have a class called form control, and it will have a on change function. On that we have to simply get the data which user will provide. So we'll say set input amount e.target.value. So this particular information we can pass to our functions, so it can perform the show. Looks good. Now we can come back here. Let's build a dynamic block. So we'll take this. We'll say if token one exists, then we have to display the data of the token one. Otherwise, we have to display empty. So come back here and we can take this span, close this one, and it's going to have a class. Let's call it rate. Inside that, we're going to display the data. So we'll take this template tutorial and we'll say balance. And we already have this information called token one balance. Because when the user will search for the address, is going to return the entire object. And this is the function we have built in the function in our context load data. And let's slice it down because we don't want to display the entire information, entire balance. We go with the 10 character. And here we're going to display the symbol. So that's our span. It looks fine. And here we'll say hello, it's not there. It's working. Now, this is the first input. Now we can come back here and here we're going to take our reset button. So we'll say rotate. In that we're going to have our image. Let's get into the assets image, slide exchange image. There it is. And in this image, we're going to simply attach our on click function. So user can click and they can reset all the value. We'll say it reset. This is the one. Good. So this is the first section. Now we can come back here and we're going to have the similar section. So what I will do is I'm going to simply copy this one. So this is the delay for the entire, copy this one. And that's what I can simply assign down below the anchor. So here, paste here. So there we have it. Now we have to do the minor changes. So what I will do is simply change this to you get, and here we have to change this to 2. This is fine, and this will be 2. And we don't need to have this on change because we're not going to take the data from there. So we can simply remove this on change from this particular input field. We can display the amount. So this is good. And here we have to change this to, this will be 2, this will be 2. And we can simply change this to, let's select and remove this one. And it will have an on click. And on the on click, we'll say set open token to true. And that's fine. This is the only change you have to do. This looks good. Now we can simply come back here and we can have our button for exchange. It will have an on click function. And we'll say swap. This is the function we have built, which we're going to attach it. Let's have a class called button. Button one, there it is. And let's display the text called exchange. And this is the entire component we have to work. Let's make on the big screen, and there it is. You can see the animation is also working fine. It's pretty beautiful on the full screen. Reload the page and there it is. You can click and it will open it. So if I click on this, it will open our token component, which we have to work. So it looks good to me. Click on that. We can connect with our MetaMask. Now we have to work on the feature component. So come back here in the code, gun back. Simply close this one, go back to the feature. So this is the hero. Okay, come back to the feature, close this hero, close this index, and now we're going to start working on it. So this one is going to be the static component only. So let's make it side by side so we can see what exactly we are working on. And this one is going to be only the JSX. We're going to write it here. So let's write it very quickly. So we'll have a class called feature, and we'll have an ID called how works. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called container. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called row, justify content center. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called column 12 text center, row fed in up. We'll have the data for the duration and delay. So we'll say duration is going to be 0.3 seconds, and we're going to have the delay quite similar, same time, like 0.3 second. Inside the div, we'll take a div. It will have a class section head. Inside that we'll take a h4. It will have a class called list head. We'll say how does it works. There it is. We'll come down here. We'll take h2. It will have a title. Inside that we'll say its Really easy. Then we can take this paragraph, it will have a text. Inside that we can display the dummy text. So let's call this it's easier than you think. Follow 3 easy steps. So this is our title and description. Now we can come back here and let's work on the copy, the 3 steps which we have to display. Let's take a div. It will have a class called call excel 4, call large 6, text center O, and we'll say fade in up, and we have to set the delay and duration. So copy and paste here. Change the timing. Let's have the same timing, 3 seconds. Looks good. We'll take a div. It will have a class called feature box. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called thumb. In that we'll display the image. Get into the assets image slash feature icon 1 png. There it is. Now we can simply come back here. We'll take a p and it will have a class called text. Inside that we can display you choose the currency, and let's add the break, and then we can display the payment method. There it is. Looks fine. Now this is the first step. Now what I'm going to do is come back here. Let's take another div. It will have a class, and we already have this structure, so let's copy this one and replace it. We have to do the changes. This looks fine, don't need to do any changes, but we can come back here, and this is the image we have. Close this one, copy and paste here, and we can change this text. This will be called pass account. This will be called verification, and this is the image too. Looks good. Now we can come back here. We can simply close this one, and copy and replicate one more time. And all we have to do is to change the image, and we have to change the text to this will call receive, and this will call cryptocurrency. So this is the 3 section we have. Let's make on the big screen, and this looks fine. This is the feature component and the 3 section we have. Now we have to work on the platform. So come back here, click on this, go back to the component, and we have to look for the platform. So there it is, and this is what we're going to work next. So close this one. Let's make it side by side on the big screen, and it looks good. It's responsive. So now we have to work on the platform, and it's going to be a quite small component, so we're going to do it very quickly. So let's take the class called platform. It will have an id called about. Change this to div. It will have a class called bg. It will have an image at the background. So we have to get into the assets image, and we'll say platform.png. Okay, the image is not reflecting, so I can come back here and let's see. Go to the public. Inside the public we have this assets. Open that one. Inside that we have the image, and there we have all the images. So let's see what exactly went wrong. So let's remove this one because it's going to come from the same location. So still it's not working, so I can come back here in the platform, and I can see that so I can see maybe the spelling is missing. Yes, the spelling is mistake, so I have to change this platform FROM. There is it. The image is displaying fine. Now the image is ready. Now we can simply come back here, like take a div. It will have a class called container. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called row. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called call 12. In that we'll take a div. It will have a class called content. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called row justify content center. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called call large 9 text center. We'll have a fade in up, and we have to set the duration and data delay. So duration is going to be 3 seconds, and we have to add the delay as well. So this will be going to be the same 3 seconds, 0.3 seconds. Looks good. Inside that we'll take a let's say div. It will have a class. We'll say section head. Inside that, we'll take a h4. It will have a class called last head, and we can display about us. Then we can simply come back here. We can take a h2 and we can say class title. This will be the online cryptocurrency exchange platform. Then we can come here, take the paragraph, we'll say text. We'll take the dummy text and let's make it short. It's quite big. So I can reduce some of the text. So looks good. Now if I make on the big screen, okay, this is fine. This is fine. But somehow the alignment of this, the main div is not working. So the image is not making. And finally I found the problem. So like we have to do the changes. This image is fine and here we have to do the changes. It's a platform PLFROM, not FORM. Save it and that looks good. The image is behind and now we have this banner and we have this information. Looks absolutely incredible. So looks good. I hope you guys are following exactly the same thing. Now we have to work on the statistics. So come back. Let's have a look one more time. Finally, it's good. Close this one. And we can go back to the statistics. Click. Close this one. Close this one. And now we have to work on the statistics. So let's make it side by side. Click here. Drag it on the right hand side. Now we can start work on the next component. So this is good. Let's take the class called statistics. Inside that, we'll take a div. It will have a class called container. Inside that, we'll take a div. It will have a class called row. In that, we'll take a div. It will have a class called call large 3, call small 6, whoa, fade in up. It will have the data, duration, and this will have like 3 seconds. We'll have to add the delay, and delay is going to be the similar timing, so 0.3 second. Inside that, we'll take a div. It will have a class called platform box text center. Inside that, we'll take a div. It will have a class called icon, and in that we have to display the image. So we'll say asset. We have our offer icon 1. Now we have to come back here. We can display our paragraph. We'll say extra fast. Well, let's add the break transaction. Come back here and let's take a div. It will have a class. So we're going to have the similar structure. So simply copy this one and paste here. Don't need to do any changes. Let's make this to 4. That's the only thing, because the first section will load, then the second section will load after 1 second. Now we have to get this entire one. So copy this one and that's all we need. All we have to do is to change the timing, and we have to change the images, and we have to change the data. So this will be called secure transaction. Close this one and copy and paste here, and this will be 3. Let's change this to no limits on exchange. That's what we have, and change this to 5. So this is our exchange rate. Now close this one and paste here and change this to 6, and here we have to change this to 4 and change the text to we have the best exchange rate. So we have all of that. Looks fine. So these are the 4 sections we have. You can simply do this in the form of array, but I'm just going a little faster. You can do this in more elegant way. You can create an array of object. There you can define all these icons, image, and data. You can render it, but I'm just simply copy and pasting because I have to just change the data. You have multiple options to simply render the component. Now come back here. We'll take a div. It will have a class column 12. Inside that, we'll take a div. It will have a class called content. Inside that, we'll take a div. It will have a bg pic. In that, we'll take the image. We'll go to the statistics, background, png. So somehow this is not displaying. Actually, we are displaying this on the big screen, not on the mobile screen. So come back here, and if I go to this image, so this is the one which we are using, simply copy this and paste here, but this image will only display on the big screen, not on the mobile screen, so it's fine. It's fine. Now we can come back here. Let's take a div. We'll say section head text center wo fade in up, and we have to set the duration copy, and that's what we can paste here. Looks good. Change this to 3. Now inside the div we have to display the h4. It will have the class called last head. We'll say our stats say more than any word. Then we can simply come back here. We'll take a h2 and we'll say title today stats. There it is. Take the paragraph. It will have a class called text, and we have this one. So let's reduce down to a few lines. That's good. Now we can come back here. Let's take a div. It will have a class called row justify content center. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called call excel 4, call large 6, and we have to add the fade in up, and we have to add the delay and the duration. Simply copy this one and paste here. So this will be, let's call it, yeah, 3 looks good. Now we can come back here and we'll take a div. It will have a class called stats box XX. Okay, inside that we have to take a div. It will have a class called icon. Inside that we'll take the image, so we'll have this assets image slash stats statistics icon 1 png, and you can take a div. It will have a class, and let's add the class called stats content. Inside that we can take h3. We'll have the class called subtitle. Inside that we'll take a paragraph. We'll call it text transaction made, and this is the first section we have. Now we have to simply replicate, and we're going to have a couple of the section. So what I can do is I can say this row, then we have this animation. So close this one, and this is the one I need. Copy and paste here and paste here. We have to paste 2 times because altogether we're going to have 3 sections. There it is. Now let's make the changes in the data. So this will be 5. Change this to like 12 minutes, and this will call it average processing time. This is the third, and let's make the changes here as well. This one is 4, and what we should call it, so we'll say eth bch, and this will call today's champion pair. There it is. Looks good. Now if I make on the big screen, so like this looks good. Like we have this 4 section, then we have this box section which has some internal component. If I make on the big screen, and there you can see it looks absolutely beautiful. And here we have all the sections. So today's stats, we have all this box. This text looks also fine, and we have a good session, and the image is also working fine at the background. So this one is good. Let's check the responsiveness. So it's 100% responsive for different scheme sizes as well. So you can see this is stats. You can simply make it small, make it big, and all of things are looking good. Now I can come back here, and this is fine. Just close this one. Now we have to simply work on the next component, the security. So this is the only 2 components are left. So come back here, go back to the security, and let's start working on it. Let's make it side by side and drag it here. That's good. Start working on this. So first thing we have to do is we have to assign the classes. So let's call this security. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class call icon 1, and this will be the image. So we'll say asset slash image, we'll say security vector 1 png, and we have to simply replicate this and change this to 2. This will be 2, and this 2 images. Now we can simply come back here. We'll take a div, it will have a class called container. Inside that, we'll take a div, it will have a class called row justify content center. Inside that, we'll take a div, it will have a class called call large 10 text center fade in up, and we have to add the duration and delay. So we'll say duration is going to be like 0.3 seconds, and we have to delay, so delay is also going to be 0.3 second or 2 second 2 second. Inside that, we'll take a div, it will have a class called section head. In that, we'll take the s4, we'll say last head, it will have this secure exchange. Then we can come back here, let's take a h2, this will call class title. Inside that, we'll say security and compliance. Good. Now we can take a paragraph, it will have a class called text. Inside that, we're going to display our text. So remove this one, and there it is. Now we can come back here and we'll take a div, it will have a class called box. Inside that, we'll take a div, it will have a class called row justify content center. Inside that, we'll take a div, it will have a class, let's call this call xl4, call large 6, and we're going to have the animation class called fade up, and we have to add this to delay and duration, copy and paste here. And inside the div, we're going to take the div, it will have a class called security box 1. Inside that, we're going to take this icon. Inside that, we'll take the image, get rid of the assets, we'll say security icon 1, there it is. We'll take a div, it will have a class called content. We have a h5, we'll say cont head. Inside that, we can take this test message 3D security or secure, you can type. We'll take a paragraph, it will have a text, and we can take this transaction security. Looks good. This is the first section we have, and we're going to have the similar section. So what I can do is, we already have this section, so let's try to replicate it. So let me have a look. This is the main div we have. Simply copy this one and paste here, and paste one more time, and we have to do the changes in the text, so text and the image. So we have this 3, let's come back here, this will be 4, this will be 2, and this will be called pick dog pick dash, and this will be security standard. Close this one, and this one is the third one, and we have to change the image, so this will be 3, and change the duration and delay is going to be a 5. This will be called 2FA, and this will be 2-step verifications. That's good. So this is the component, let's make on the big screen, and there it is. You can see how beautiful it's coming, and we have the 2 images with the animations, also looks perfect. So the animation is taking place here, we have that one, so this one is good. Now we have to work on the testimonial section. So this is also going to be a beautiful component which we design very quickly. So let's come back here, let's go back here, close this one, and come back to the testimonial section, and this is what we have to work. So make on the big screen side by side so we can see what exactly we are working on. And that's the last component, last 2 components we have. So this is the testimonial. After that, we're going to work on the token component. So come back here, let's remove this one, let's call this section, let's have a class called testimonial. Inside that, we'll take a div, it will have a class called container. Inside that, we'll take a div. It will have a class called row, justify, content center. Inside that, we'll take a div. It will have a class called call large 5 text center wo fair enough, and we have to add the two attributes. So duration is going to be, let's say we are adding this 3, and delay is going to be like 0.3 seconds. Inside that, we're going to take the inside that we're going to take a div. It will have a class called section head. H4 class is going to be last head. Inside that, we'll say testimonial, and we can come here. We'll take H2. Class is going to be title. Don't just take our words for it. And then we can take our paragraph, and it will have a text class, and we have to display our dummy text. So I'm going to simply remove few lines from here. There it is. It's good. Now we can simply come back here. We'll take a div. It will have a class called row. Inside that, we'll take a div. It will have a class called call large 12 wo fed in up, and we have to add the two attributes. So we can copy, and that's what we can paste here. And we can change the timing to 4 seconds. Let's call it 5. Come back here. Let's take a div. It will have a class called about testimonial. Inside that, we can take the image, get into the image folder. From there, we can get the world map png. Now we can simply come back here and come here. We'll take a div. It will have a class called client1, and altogether we're going to have 6 component of the client. So we have 2 methods which you can follow to render the component. One, you can do it at the form of array. So you can create an array. You will have all the data, and you can simply render. But I'm going with a different approach, so I'll leave that as an open option. So you can go with this approach which I'm going, or you can just simply render with the array. So let's build this particular one. Inside that, we'll take a div. It will have a class called image1. The style is going to be image, background image, and we have to simply get the first client image. So the images are in the assets image, and we have to get this testimonial 1. So the image is not reflecting. Okay, let's come back, take a div. It will have an id called my popover class popover default my popover. Inside the div, we'll take the div. It will have a class. Let's call this client review, and in that, we're going to take a div. It will have a class called stars. Inside that, we have to display the icons. So like, we'll take a class, we'll call it for star. So we're going to display the react icon. So short while I'm going to do the changes. So let's display 5 icons. So I'm going to simply take an array, and I have to simply render it. So we'll say item index, and we have to make it inserted. Copy, cut, and paste inside that. So it will display our 5 icons. Now we can come back here. We'll take a paragraph. It will say bottom text. Then we have a dummy text, and I want to remove few lines from here. So if I click and over, you can see it's pop-up working absolutely fine. So on the over effect, it's going to trigger. Absolutely beautiful. Now this is the section we have. Now we can come back here. Let's take a div. It will have a class called client info. Inside that, we'll take a h4. It will have a class called name. Inside that, we'll take this called floor, means the client name you can give. I'll give this one, and let's give the paragraph. It will be position, and the position he holds its founder and CEO. There it is. Beautiful pop-up model we have. So this is the first section, and somehow the image is not working. So let me have a look. So this is the one section. This is working absolutely fine, and here I have to do the changes. So it's a testimony. It's a 1. Okay, sorry, my bad. It's a 1. Now the image is displaying fine. Got it? I hope you guys can appreciate that how things are coming together. So this is the very first section, and we're going to have 6 of them. So close this one, and we have to replicate 6 times. So simply replicate it quickly. So I have this 6 time. Now we have to do the minor changes in the classes and the images. So this is the one I have. So let's close this one, close all the component, and let's change the classes to one by one. So this one is going to be, let's call it 2. This will be 3. This will be 4. This will be 5. This will be 6. And here we have to do the changes in the image as well. So this will be 2. And here we have to make the changes as well. Okay, I have this extra one, so let me remove this one and save it. Now get back here. We have to change the images, and we have to change the ID as well, because we have to open that specific component for the client. So here we have the ID. So like you can see right now it's opening only one component, but we have to change the ID. So we can see, so we have the name, image, and this looks fine. The images I have changed, and here I have to assign this pop-up to. So this is the change you have to do, and the rest would be fine. You can simply replace the data, but I will go with the same data. Let's do the same thing with the third one. Change this to 3, and this will be 3. Close, open. This will be 4, 4, and here we have this 4, 4. Close this one, and this one is 6, 6. Now you can over, and you can see all these components are opening fine. Let's make on the big screen, and there it is. So we have the world map icons, and you can simply over on it. It will open that specific component. Beautiful. Now I can come back to the React icons, and let's change the icon. So we are not using font awesome. So what I'm going to go here, and let's search for star. Just wait, and let's find it out. So this time I'll go with this particular icon, or I can go with the this one. Copy this entire section. Now come back to the code, and we have to simply paste here. Copy this one, and that's what we can simply replace here. So we can come back here where we have the icons, paste, and save it. The moment you will do that, and it will simply do the changes. So let's change this to and save it. Let's do it to all the component. Let's do on the 4th one. Let's do on the 5th one, and this is the 6th one. Now if I come back here, you can see the stars is displaying. Okay, we have to remove the classes as well, but our stars is displaying. So what I can do, I can come back here, and I can simply remove the classes, remove this one. The moment you will do, it will work fine. So this is the one. You can see our stars are looking fine. So this is what we have to do. We have to quickly remove in all the places. Let's replace this one, and here we have to do the changes, make the changes here as well, make the changes here as well, and here you have to do the changes. Save it, and that looks fine. Got it? Now you can come back here, and you can check the stars are displaying absolutely fine. You can simply replace the data with the actual client data. So this looks pretty fine. We have all of these sections working absolutely beautiful, and the section looks beautiful, and everything is good. The animation, the hardcode data looks good. If you check the responsiveness, this is also responsive. You can click, and you can simply connect. There it is. Okay, now you can open this particular token component, and that's what we have to work next. So we are done with this. Come back here, close this one, and now we have to work on the token component. So we have to go into this particular one. So like this is the token, where we're going to simply fetch the information about the token. So let's come back here. Here we have all of this token. So simply copy this entire one, get rid of the token, and we have to simply receive that as a prop. And we have to simply change this, remove this one, looks good. So we have received the props. Now let's try to build the functionality very quickly. So first thing, we have to receive few things from React. use effect, use state. Then we can come back here. Let's do the internal import. We need our context. So that's coming from also slash utils short address because we have to display the address in a format. Then we have to simply call this state variable, and let's define that. So first thing is going to be the search token. So the user will provide the address and we have to search the information of the token. So this will be the search token, and then we're going to have the display token. Then we can come back here and let's try to call the function. So token load function. So we'll take this use effect, and in that we're going to create an internal function. So let's call this cons load token. It's gonna be an async function. Inside that we're going to take this variable called token await, and we already have the function called load token data. In that we can simply pass the search token. So when we'll pass, it's going to return us the information about the token. Then we have to simply check for a condition. We'll say token is equal to undefined. Then we have to simply display the notification message. Token address is missing. Else we can simply update this data to the set display token, and we'll call it token. Got it? And we have to call this function whenever there is a change in the search token. So let's call this particular function, and let's call this function over and over whenever the user provide the search token address. So this will simply return the data about the token and the function we have built. Now we can come back here for the select token. So come back here, let's call this select token. It's going to simply check for the data. We'll say if token 1 is equal to undefined, then we have to simply set that to display token. Means when there is no data available in the token 1, then we have to update that to display token, and we have to simply close the component. Else if the data is available, then we have to simply set the token data to the token data 2, and we have to close the component. Okay, this is the simple logic we have built. We are simply updating the data with the same function in two different state. Now this looks good. Let's make it side by side and let's start working on the JSX. So here I'm getting this particular error. Okay, so this looks fine. The function is here. If you go back here, we are receiving the function. Also good. We are receiving the function in the context. If I go back to the context, so this is fine. And if I go to the context, here you can see we already have this particular function which we have passed down. And if I see, this is the exact name I have given. But why I'm getting this particular error? So if I come back here, this looks fine. And that's what I have sent here. So like the spellings are good. And here is also the same thing. Okay, so this is fine. And oh, okay, I can see the problem. So I have to wrap in an object. So let's give that one. Remove this and paste this one. Now it will work fine. So we have no issue. Select. Now the error is gone. Got it? You can see the token component is open. Now we can start working on it. So we'll take a class banner. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called hero area. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called container. Inside that we'll take a div. We'll say raw align item center justify content between. Inside that we can take a div. It will have a class called call excel 4 call large 6, and we'll have this new width. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called exchange. Then we have to take this h5 and we have to display our sort title. We'll say x head is going to be cryptocurrency token. Then we can simply come here and we'll take a div. It will have a class called exchange box. Inside that we're going to take a div. It will have a class called selector. Inside that we'll take a p. It will have a text. We'll say search token address. Then we can simply come back here. We'll take a div. It will have a class icon. Inside that we'll take a span. In that we can take display symbol. Then we can come back here. We'll take a, let's say, div. It will have a internal div and we'll have a class called form group. Inside that we can take our input and we can simply get the text. It will have an onChange function, and this information we can pass to our search token. So we'll say search token e.target.value. There it is. Now we can come back. Let's have a class called form control. It's making a little short. Then we can have a placeholder, so we can display the token information address, else we can say search. Let's comment this one so it will take the full width. Now we have this one. Let's come back here and let's build the button. So we'll take this dynamic one. So we'll say display token else nothing. So if we have the information about the token, then we can display and we'll allow user to select that. So let's take this anchor and we'll say on click, and on the on click function we have to simply call the function we have built called search token. It will have a class called button. We'll say button1. Inside that we can display the short address. We'll display the address of the token. Then we have to display the symbol, and that's it. So this is our dynamic component. So it looks absolutely fine. So with that we are done with all the component and the functionality. Now it's time to test this out. So if I bring it back, it's making a shot, but if I close it, let's close it for a time being. And our notification model is also working fine. Let's make on the big screen and let's try to check this out. So if I reload the page, if I click, it will open. Let's select that. Here is the notification component is working fine. I can pass the address and it's going to give me the relevant information. So this also looks pretty good. If I come back here, click on this connect, reload the page, connect, that's good. And you can simply click and you can simply check all that. So everything is working fine. We are done with all the component and the functionality. Now it's time to test this out. So let me have a quick look over one more time that things are looking good. Okay, so this is good. Everything's good. Close this one. Come back here. Close this one. This is fine. All the context work fine. And this is the index page. Close this one. Close this one. Close this one. Close this one. And this is the configuration. And now we're going to work and test this in the Forknet. So this is what we're going to work next. So all of this are looking absolutely great. Don't need to do anything else. So like we have built all of the component and these tokens are there. So that's the only thing I want to cover in this video. With that, let's move to the next video, and that we're going to do the final testing of our application and we're going to fix some minor bugs. This is the context. Like all of these functions are fine. This connect wallet, load token, then we have the get pool, we have the swap options, build trade. This is the address we're going to use it. This is the swap functionality we have, and this is all the function we have imported from here. And that's all the testing we're going to do right up here in the next video. So this is where we left in the last video, and so far all the things are looking good to me. So the very first thing I want to do is, like, we have already tested this fork one, so let's test one more time and let me show you that everything's working fine. So I'm going to remove this one and I have to get into this particular folder. So I'll say cd fork. I'm here, and here you can see in this script I'm doing this transaction on the Forknet. So this is what I have already explained you. If I take you into the script, here we are doing the transfer of the token from WETH, WETH to USDC. So we have this one, and I try to use this particular account which is already given to all of you guys in the startup file, and I want to do the swap. So if I copy this one, because this is the testing time, so let's copy and let's test this out on the Etherscan. So if I come back here in the Etherscan and if I check the fund this particular account has in its wallet, so let's paste this one and hit enter, and it's going to give you all the details. So still this particular account has 24 ether and you will find all of this token. So if I come back here and let's try to perform the swap USDC, and I'm going with this like wrap ether. So first thing I have to do is I have to run this particular command. So this is the command which I have to get. So I have to type, so I can simply copy this particular command, and that's what I can simply paste here and hit enter. and it's going to perform the swap on the Forknet. So just wait. Soon the transaction will complete. So this is the before amount, like 24 ether. This is the rat balance 165, and this is the USD balance. And after the swap, like it's went down to 14. This one is still the same balance, and here we have this particular USDC. So this particular script is working absolutely fine. It's working fine. We can easily able to do the swap. So now if I come back here and I try to see what fund we have here, you can able to find all the token this particular account has, and you can literally pick any account for performing the swap. But make sure it has the liquidity, because if it doesn't have the liquidity, not going to perform the swap. So the basic transaction we have done with this, like ETH, like ETH to USDC. So this script is working absolutely fine. Now what I'm going to do is, this looks good. Now we're going to do some experiment on the front end, because that's where we have to do the testing. So let's open up your terminal. Now we have to get out of this folder, go to the main directory, clear up your terminal. And now to test our application, first we have to run our local node. But before we run, we have to do a couple of setup in our MetaMask. So open up here. I'll go back to this and I'm going to open this MetaMask. And here we have to, you can see this is calling me like 10,000 ether, but it's not a real one. I'm going to click here and I'm going to take you to the add network, and here you will find all the details about the network, and we have to set couple of variables in our local Hardhat network. So if I go back to the network, you can able to see the information which I have said. And here I have this particular one called mainnet fork, and here I have added all of this information. So we have this, you can call it whatever you want, but this particular endpoint is very important, because when you will run your Hardhat node, Hardhat will default create this RPC URL for you, which you can use to connect with the Forknet. This is the chain ID. You can simply ignore this warning, and sometime what happened that Hardhat will update their chain ID, so you can simply pick that, and this is the currency. All you have to do is to save. So this is the one setup you have to do. Once you're done with the setup, all you have to do is to simply close that one and open up your MetaMask. It's working fine. We are connected with that. Now we're going to simply come back here and we're going to start our local node. So all you have to do is to simply run this particular command, npx hardhat node, enter, and it's going to start the application and it will run the Hardhat node. And this is the exact RPC endpoints Hardhat will create, which we have provided in our MetaMask, and it will give you 20 plus accounts, which you can simply copy the private key and simply import. So this looks fine. Make sure to keep running this, then we can easily able to do the transaction and test. Now here I'm going to start the application. Type npm run dev, and this one is going to start the application on local 3000. Now simply come back to the browser. I'll go back here and I'm going to reload the page, and boom, here is everything's working fine. So our application got started, everything is working absolutely great. Now we can simply able to connect. So click on this connects, and I'm connected with the MetaMask. Now all you have to do is to simply click on this, and here notification is working fine. All you have to do is to pass the address of the token. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same token. So let's bring this down, and I'm going to get into this. We already have the tokens, so I'll get this token. So this one is the wrap ether, copy and paste here, and it's going to fetch the information about the token. You can see it's fetched the information. It's a wet token, address, and how much fund this particular account has. So if I click on this, okay, it's throwing me this particular error, so I know what is the problem. It says set token is not a function. So if I take you here, this is the one which causing the issue. So we don't need to call this particular function. We have to call this particular function select token. So all we have to do is to simply come back here and replace the function, and it's going to select the token for you. Okay, make sure to replace the function. Now come back here, and we have to get the address of the token as well. So I'll come back here, not in the context here, and let's get it. Copy, come back here. I'll reload the page and try to simply click on open. Is going to open that. I'll paste the address here. I have that. If I click on this, it's going to update the balance here. So I have this much fund, which you guys have seen when I was testing. This is the symbol, and here we have that one. Now we have to select the second token. So I'll go back here in my code, and this is the second token which I have taken. Now I can come back here, click on this, paste here, and I will simply click on this exchange, not exchange, sorry. Here we have the balance. We have to click it here. First we have to select, and you can see this much USDT I have. Currently it's 0, pretty less, but it's working fine. I can simply paste here, select, and here we have this one. Simply check the balance. So this one is the width and this one is the USDT. But what I want to come back here, and when I'm clicking on the second one, like when I'm clicking on this, it's opening this one, but I don't want to open that. So let's come back here and let's do one thing. Not here, we have to go into the hero section, so we have to come back here, and here we have all of this section. So like this one is the dynamic one, and here we have this one open, with this one is for the second token. So what I will do, I don't need this one because I don't want to open, because we already have that. Now it will work fine. So like once I will reload, I can come back here, I can go into the context, and I can simply get this context, get the token, come back here, I can simply paste here, paste the address and select. I got the address. Now I can go back again, I can get the address number 2, and I can simply paste here, click here, paste, and that's it. We can simply disable this one because we allow to user to put the amount from here, not from here, and we can click on the swap. So before we do that, let's do a couple of changes. So come back here, and we have this function already with us. We have this function swap. So like I can come back here in the token, and here we have the function in the hero section. I'll come back here. This is the swap we have. I can send the information about these two token. So like here we are attaching this function. So we already have the function of the two token, like token 1, token 2. So this is the two information I'm going to send. So copy this one, and we're going to simply paste here. So we have this two token. Now I can simply come back here, and I need the fee as well. So if I come back to the context, you will notice this is the input amount. So simply copy this one, and I'm going to get that input amount from here. So here we have the input amount, and which is going to be set. Here we have the loader, opener, all of this we have. And I can come back here on the pages. So like if I come back here on the pages, go to the index, and here you will find that here we have the input amount. So this is the input amount. I can also send this. So simply copy this one, and I'm not sending, so I'm going to simply send this one, input amount. I'll copy, come back in the hero, I'm going to receive that input amount, and that's what I have to simply pass in the function. So if I come back here, let's pass that. Order is very important. The way you are receiving, you have to define in the exact order, because we are passing the value straight away. So we got the two token and the input amount. Now this is the amount we have. I'm going to simply come back here, and I can simply take this information from here. So like this is the open one we have, and here we have this input field. On that I can simply call this one. So I can remove this one and say on change dot target dot value. So it will give us the information, and we have to simply set this. So I'll come back here, and I'm going to simply set this one. So this particular information will be stored, that how much fund user wants to transfer. So let's test this out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come back here in the context, not in the come back to the context, and here we have to do the check. So let's do one thing. Like what I can do is let's bring it down, and I'm going to simply comment all of this. Let's test out this variable, that are we getting that information or not, because we have to make it dynamic. So I'll say console dot log, and I'm going to simply paste that. Got it? This looks pretty good. Now I'm going to simply come back here. I'm going to reload the page. Let's do the inspect element, and let's go to the console, and here we have to simply pass down the information. So like I have to check this one as well. So what I will do is I can come back here, and I can get the two token. So I can simply copy the first token, paste here, click on this, it's going to open, paste here. Here we have the information, select, and it's got updated. If I click on this, you're going to see it will remove that. So it means it's working fine. So it will have here. So reload the page, click on this, paste here, and we have this one. So this one looks good. Now let's do the same thing with the second token. So I'll come back here, I'll copy the second token, come back, click on this, paste here, and this much fund I have for the USDC. So far things are good. Now let's try to click on this exchange and we'll have the information about this tokens. Click on the exchange and here you can see somehow we got this undefined. So I know why it's happening. So what I can do is I can come back here and let's try to console log out this information. So that's all information we are passing down from here in this. Okay, my bad. So there it is. You can see that there is no information exactly here. So where I have passed those function. If I come back here and this looks good, there's no problem in that. This is the hero section and this is also good. So somehow I pass the function in which, okay, this is one. Simply copy this one, come back to the hero, and this is where we have attached, where we have to send all this information. So save it. So when the user will click, it will have all the information. So I have, okay, here we have this one. So like I have click on the image, so I don't need to pass any information in the image because it's a reset option, reset button. I hope you have noticed this, guys. Now let's come back here. We have all of this. Now if I click on this, it throws me this particular error. So this is the error which I'm getting. It says swap input amount is not defined. Okay, it's not defined. I have to get this one. Copy this one. And this is what I have to pass here. Input amount. And if I come back to the index, there you can see this is the exact I'm passing. And this is what I have here. Got it? So far things are pretty good to me. Now I can come back here and if I click on this, if I'm like I want to transfer, like do some 5, if I click on this exchange, here you can see we have all of this information. So like I have the information about the token, chain ID. So this looks fine. This is the second token information I have. Exact information I'm getting because the information will come in the form of object. So we have the information of both the token and we also have the information about the price and it's a string. So we got all of this information. Now all we have to do is to come back here, go back to the context, and here we have to make it dynamic. So let's start with that. So first thing what I will do is we have all of this information. I'm going to bring this back and we are not using this. So I'm going to simply I'll just try to comment this out so you guys can take it as a reference. We need this chain ID and this chain ID. So instead of going with the hardcode data, I'll go with the actual chain ID. So like here I have this one. I'm going to comment this one. I'm going to bring this back because this will contain the chain ID. And here it says network, and which we are getting from here. So we have this provider. We have the chain ID, dynamic chain ID. Looks good. Now I'm going to format that. Now here we have the tokens. So I'm going to bring this back. And we already have the information about the token. So what we have called, so like if I come back here, we already have this information. So it's going to return the token, and inside the token we have the address. So let's remove this one. And if I go back to the context constants, here we have simply returning. So I'm calling this what? Address. Okay, I'm calling this address. Come back to the context and here we have to simply call that. So this is the address, the first one. Now we have to do the exactly the same thing with the second. So it will have the address of both the token. So this is how we can make it dynamic. And here we have to simply turn it back. Bring it back is going to be the same for the first token because that's what we are getting. We have to do the same thing from here as well. This is the second token. And here we have this one, provider. Let's bring it back. And that's the information we are passing. This is the information we are passing because that's what we need in our get pool function. And we have the minimum fee and the provider. So I'm going to bring this back as well. And here you can see I'm going with this hardcode amount, but I have the fund. This is the swap amount. So this is the one. I'm going to simply come back here and I'm going to replace this one. And that's how we can make it dynamic. And here we have to build this straight. I can simply bring it back. Don't need to do any changes in here because this is the pool, the information, this is the chain, this is the token B, and here we have the input amount which we are passing from here. And here we are looking for this particular one, exact input. I hope you guys are familiar with the exact input and all of that options. Then we have the straight. I'm going to bring this back. I'm going to bring this swap back. And here we have this one, params. I'm going to bring this back as well. And these are the simple things we have. So instead of going with the transaction, what I will do is let's take this back and let's try to uncomment this and check how much fund I have. So like this is the balance which is going to be to be get, and I'm going with this particular address. I'm going with this hardcode address so we can get and check all of this function we have built. So this looks fine. We cannot able to do the transaction because we don't have the method which I talked about. So if I take you back in the fork one, we don't have this impersonate account function which Hardhat gives in the front end. So like here we are using this impersonate. I hope you guys have understood that what it does. You have to put the address of any account and it's going to create the signer object that for particular account which you can use to do the trade. But we cannot use this particular method in the front end. So that's the problem we have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the basics transaction, but it will work absolutely fine. So we have this script. Now before we do all of the things, let's try to call it out because we are passing all this information which is absolutely required. So let's test this out. So what I will do is I come back here. I lost somehow the addresses, so I'll come back here. This is the addresses of the two account which I'm going to use. It copy, come back here, reload the page, and if I come back and click on this open, you can see we are getting this one address because it's trying to fetch out but there's no address. So I'm going to simply paste this one and it's going to fetch the information, and there it is, first token. I'll come back in the terminal, not code, copy, come back here and paste here. Here we have, select the token. So this is the two token I have. Now I have to give the amount, so I'll go with something like 5. If I click on this exchange, it's going to perform this, and here we have some sort of problem. It says provider get network is not a function. So here we have to do is, all we have to do is to simply call this await, and that will fix the issue. Got it? Now come reload the page, and here we have to provide the information. So let's click on this open and we have to get that. So come back here and I can go back to the deploy. Let's get the address, open it, paste here and select. That's the one token we have. I can go back again. I can get the second one and I can simply click, paste here. Here we have the information. Now I can click on this exchange, and here you can see still I'm getting this particular error. This time I'm getting on the chain. So this is called on change. So if I open this one, you can see this information is here. So it's called, okay, my bad, it's called chain ID with a small, not with a capital. So this kind of refactoring, when you do, you will come across this kind of error. Okay, so don't need to be panicked, it's a normal. So once we have the information about the network, then we are getting it, or you can get this information from here as well. Instead of getting this information from the network, what you can do is this information is already there in the token, so we can simply copy and we can simply replace that, so it will have the actual networking. So you can simply comment this one. Got it? Now let's do the testing one more time. Copy, come back here, open, paste, got the information. Now we can come back, get the second token, and here we can simply click on open, paste the second and set it. So we got that set up. Now click on this exchange, and here it says that right now we have a problem on the new pool, means things are working fine. So it says ABI map is not a function. So that's the thing we have to check. Finally I found the problem, so it's right up here. So we have to call ABI, obviously because it's an object and we have to get the ABI. So this looks pretty fine. We can simply reload the page and we can come back here and we have to get the address of the token. Okay, it's a part of development. Sometimes you have to do for 2 and 3 days, then you can able to find out that what exactly went wrong in your code. So don't be frustrated when you are actually coding. Save it, and here we have that one. So we got the balance, we got this. Now we can simply pass the amount. So I'll go with 5, click on this exchange, And here we have that one. So this time we got something else. Cannot convert undefined to big int. So here we have to do, and this time the problem's happening in the for row in line number 208 in passing the amount. So it says ether. I can come back here, go back to the context, and this is the problem we have. So here we have to call this ether, not small ether. Sometimes this auto typing create a lot of mess. Again, let's give a try. Copy, come back here, click on this open, paste, and select that token. Now we have to come back here, copy, come here, click on this open, select, and now we can simply do the swap. I can say 5, click on this exchange, and here I got this problem in the router 3. So slowly we are improving. It's happening in 133 in the build trade function. So this is the one, simple spelling mistake S. Here we have to pass S because that's what we are receiving. So like things are looking fine. I don't know what exactly went wrong. I stopped the application and I restarted and everything's looked good. But I want you to recheck everything, okay? So this is the build function. This is the route we have. This is the route v through. Make sure to check the spelling. Filter, and this is the map. Make sure to provide the exact spelling because this trade data will have this input amount and output amount which user will pass and what he will receive. This is the v3. Check this one. This is the next, and at the end we are simply passing this one. So far things are good. Now let's test this out. So again I'm going to take this one, copy, where we are, and we can come back, click on this open, paste here, select, and come back here. Let's get the second token, open, paste, select, and we have to have this. I go with 5. Now click on this exchange, and boom, you can see all of this information. So this is the information about the pools. You can able to find the liquidity. You can able to find about the square, this tick data provider, token 0, all the information, token 1, and here we have the token price which you can easily able to compare. There's a lot of things. This is the trade object, in that we have the swap and we have all of this thing. This is the exact input amount. So this one is very important, which is going to match that what exactly you're going to go, and is will have all this information about the ethers and the transaction volume. This is the output, also good. And here we have this slippage, that how much slippage tolerance we are providing. So I will go with this 5%, but I want you to go with the 5%. Don't allow to give user, because sometimes user create a lot of differences in the slippage, and due to that the transaction will fail. So if you want to build a separate system where you're going to handle the slippage and all, so that's going to be a different topic, but this is the slippage you have to provide for an industry standard. And here we have the call data which we're going to provide with the value. And here you can see we got the balance. So we got the balance of this ether balance this particular account has, and this is the token 1, this is the token B. Why it's undefined? So let's me come back here. So somehow the token B is getting undefined. So this is the one we have. Okay, there is a problem. So I can simply copy this one, and this is one we have, B. So make sure to do this change. Let's change the other one. So this one also had the same issue. I'll say B. Save it. Got it? Now things are looking fine. Let's do one more time so we can see. I'm going to take this first one, and here we got it. Open, paste here, and we have this. Then we'll go with the second token. So I'll come back in the code, get the second token, and I'll come back here, and let's open this one, paste here, exchange. So we got that. Let's provide the volume, otherwise it will fail. And if I say this exchange, you can see this time the fund is, we got it. So this is the token A, and this is the token B balance, which is very little, means we are getting the data. So whatever we have built, that's all working absolutely fine here. So instead of going with this recipient address, what if I try to go use my own account, own address, which I can do it very easily. And now let's try to do the swap. The moment I will do that, it's going to throw me in an error. So let's first uncomment this. And here we have all of this logs. So let's uncomment this one as well. This one as well. And the reason why it will fail, because here we are using different address, and the signer object we are getting from the provider into this has a different user. If I come back here in the try and catch, so this one is also I have to bring back. Once I have this, now I can simply uncomment this one, comment this. That looks good. So what we are doing, we are building this transaction object and we are passing the value. This is the call data which we have as I show you, and this is the value, and this is the address which we're going to receive it, and it will fail, the transaction will fail. So let's come back here, let's get the address. I want to swap from wrap ether to USDC. That's what I have. I can click on this open, paste here, selected, we got the amount. Now I can come back here, I can get the second token. Now I can click on this open, paste here, select, and now I want to go with 5, or you can want whatever you want. Now click on this exchange, and here it says that signer is not defined. Okay, you can see signer is not defined, so we can get that signer. So let's come back here, I forgot to get it signer. Let's get this all, copy. That's what I can simply come back here in the context, go right down below here, paste. We don't need this contract, remove this one, and here we have this, bring the address of the user. This is the signer, and this is the signer object which we have to provide, and we have the user address for performing the trade. So this is the signer, and that's what we are passing down here as a making the transaction. Now let's do one more time. Again, this is a part of development, you have to do testings a lot. Development is only 20%, like the rest is your testing, and then you can simply improve your application based on the errors, based on the problems you face. Open, paste here, you got the balance. Now provide the amount, I'll say 5, I'll call it exchange, and here we got an error. You can see the transaction failed, and the reason is that the signer is different and the user who is performing the address is different. So you can see it's called mismatch, from address mismatch. That's why we cannot able to perform the swap. So we all have the address, remove this one, the address is mismatched. So all we have to do is to perform the actual here. So I have the address here, I can simply replace this one and make it dynamic. So I can, instead of going with the test account, I can go with the real account. I can simply come back to the recipient, placed here, it will give us the balance, paste here, and I can paste the here as well, and I can have the address. So this is going to be the same address. So if I select this one and come back here, it has the same address. So I'm going to simply provide the address. That's the changes you have to do to make it dynamic. Looks good. And I have to also do the changes here as well in the context. So if I do the changes in the context, I cannot able to get the information like this. So I can simply pass this one, and now we are doing the, bring this back, then it will work. Sometime it happens. Now I can click on this open, come back here, go to the deployed, get the address, then come back to the application, paste here, and here we have the information. Right now I have nothing in this account. I can go back again to my and get the second token, come back here, click on this open, paste here, and I don't have anything. If I simply try to make a call, I'll get an error without an amount. So you can see here I got it, and it say that argument must be value. So I can simply pass the value and I can make a call exchange, and you can see all the funds I have opened, and here it says sending 5 ETH, call this confirm, and here you can see calling success, we have successfully sent the money and the transaction is went through. So if I come back into the code, and here we have that, so this is the address and this is the address. You can see we can easily able to do the transaction, but we don't have any actual fund. That's why before it was 0, we had this much money as an ETH. If I show you my account, this much fund we had, but we have used the 5, and after the transaction is successful because I don't have any fund, but still the transaction is working fine. So how beautifully it's come together. You can If you have the real fund, it will automatically do the transaction for you. Again, if I click on this and if I come back here, go to this deploy, get this token, copy, paste here. That's the 0 we have. Now I can come back here one more time, paste here, open, paste, change, and let's call this time 100 and click on this exchange. And here it's open that we are sending the 5 ETH. Click on confirm and here you can see the transaction went through. All we have to do is, if you have the real fund, then you can easily able to perform the swap. Right now I don't have any value in this token, that's why I cannot able to do that, but everything is working fine. It's beautifully. So all the transaction we are doing on the Forknet. I hope you guys can appreciate that how things are coming together and how we are performing this entire swap. So this is really beautiful. You can easily able to display the transaction balance and all of that. That's absolutely good. So hope you guys have understood that what exactly we have done here. And when I was testing, I found few changes need to be done. So I see this particular spelling is wrong. container, container, that's what you have to call it. Now if I click on this open, it looks fine. If I click on this, it's resetting, looks good. It's beautiful. So I can simply close this deploy one, and I want to do few things. Like here we have that one, and if I look, let's bring let's bring this deployed one back, and I'm going to simply copy this one, copy, and come back here. And if I click on this, past here, so that's the first token. Should I keep this one, this input, or should I remove it? It's totally up to you. I'll just go with this one. You can keep it or you can remove it, because that one is for the output amount, and most of the swap platform will have this one. So I'm going to remove this one. Let's remove this, the second. Got it. Now click on that, and here we have the font. Now if I do the inspect element, you can able to perform the swap. Just ignore that and click on the swap, and here it says that value must be a string. Okay, my bad, I have to provide the value, and click on this file, and there it is. The transaction went through, we are sending the money, confirm, and finally the swap is happened. If you have the token, the swap will be reflecting here. Beautiful. So I hope you guys can appreciate that what exactly we have done. You can easily able to run this script on the back end. Like if you want to build some sort of bot, trading bot, and you want to execute after checking the balance, then you can simply do that. Looks fine. And here we have the front end. We are using this library, we are using this trade volume, we have this SDK, they have the ABI, all this internal function, and this one is dynamic. Like you can straight away deploy and you can easily do and check this one. So simply close this one, and this is the build function we have. This is the testing account. I want you to go and check the fund. It has a lot of money. I'm going to simply remove this one. So let's clean a bit. I'm going to leave this as a comment so you guys can have a reference. This looks good to me. All of these funds are looking fine. And let's do one thing. This is the before and this is the after the swap. So we already have this notification message. So we'll say notify. I'll say notify success, and then so it's going to show the pop-up message that what font exactly have, and if anything goes wrong, it's going to capture that as well. So do one thing, let's take a if else statement. So we'll say if there is no token 2 or there is no fund swap input. If that's the case, then we have to simply return it. So what we're going to return, we're going to return this in error component. You can do experiment, like what kind of things you want to mention. You can do all the experiments. So I'm going to get this one, and I can simply come back on top of here, and I'm going to simply return it. So let's call this return, and I'll say please provid provide all the DEL details for swap. That's it. Got it? Now let's test this out and it will work fine. So here we got it. Now we can click on that. We can pass the information, select the token. This is the one we have. I can come back here, copy, commit, click on this, paste here, select, and if I call this without, it's going to throw the error message. You can see. I hope you guys can see that. If I call this, you can see please provide all the details. Looks fine. This one is working fine. If I try to do the swap and call it exchange, is going to do that. You can simply display the loader. Here it says make sure to confirm that one, and token see to balance is displaying. So you can do all of the stuffs. This looks absolutely great. So with that, we have done with this entire application. I hope you guys have followed so far what we have done. What are the changes we have done? This is the one. This is all the libraries we are using. This is all we have. We have taken this loader states. You can simply display the loader, but I want you to leave on, you guys. Simply display the loader, or we can display that. There's no problem in that. So let's try to display the loader. So we already have the data, because why should I leave it as an incomplete application? Let's complete this one. So come back here. Here we have this, and let's come back here in the component section, and we don't have anything here. We have this preloader, but I'm not going to use that. Let's call this loader loader.jsx, and let's type rafce. We got that, and we're not going to code that. I'm going to use this particular platform, universal, and here you will find all the different component which you can use it. Come back to the all, and here you can call for loader, and you can pick any one. So I'll take this one. This one looks pretty good and interesting. So HTML we have to get, copy the HTML, come back here, and all we have to do is to simply paste here. That's the HTML we have. Now we have to get the CSS. So simply copy this one. And now we can simply go back to the global CSS, and here we have that all. So simply come here and paste here. So that's our CSS file. So now what we can do is come back here. Let's try to import, replicate that, change this to loader, and this is what we have. Paste here, copy, and that's what we can simply paste here. Loader, good. Now close this one. We can close this one. We got the loader, and we have the loader. Now simply copy this one, and we can come back. Just remove this one. We don't need this. Need this. We can come back to the index page, and here we can simply import that loader. Once we have the loader, here we can simply call it. So like this is the one we have. I'm going to come back here and say if we have the loader, like loading loader, we'll say loader. If loader is true, then we can take a div, and we already have this class. It's going to keep the entire section in the middle, and I have the loader. I'm going to simply call that loader. If I turn this to, by default will first turn true, you can see the loader is working fine. Here we can see the loader is working fine. We have the loader. If I come back in the code and try to remove this, it will not display the loader. Got it. It's gone. Now what I want you, come back here. So our loader is working fine. Here we are in the context, and if I simply take you, not in the context, I can take you to here, and here we have taken this loader. So simply copy this one. By default it's false, and when the user will call this particular function, we have to turn the loader. So I'll simply call this loader to true, and once the entire transaction is getting completed, so I'm going to simply turn that to false. So here we are setting up the notification bar. So this is the notification bar. So before set it, then I can simply turn it to false, false, and it will work fine. Let's do the transaction one more time. Now I can come back here in the fork one, and here we have, go to the script deployed, and here we have that one. Copy, come back here, click on this, paste here. We got the font selected. You can see, come back here, copy, go to the second portion, paste here, got it. And I want to get this to, like, let's say 5. That's doesn't mean. And here you can see loader is working fine. Confirm, and the transaction went through because we are doing on the Forknet, so it will happen very quickly. But when you will do the transaction on the actual net, it's going to work fine. Take a little bit time. So with that, we are done with this entire application. Or if I come back here, you can see here we have this icons are missing. So I want you to come back here on the React icon, and let's type for social. So let's quickly give the icons. So let's say social, social, and here you will have bunch of icons which you can install. So okay, social, hit enter, and here it's searching for the icon. I don't know why it's what happened. I type social, hit enter, and it's going to give you the social media icons which we're going to simply plug into our application. So my net is somehow a little slow because I don't know why. So let's do one thing. Let's clean up this because we have tested all of that. Close this one. Close this one. This is the loader, looks fine. And I can simply close this context. I want you to just understand everything, that how we have done this. Let's come back to the footer. And that's what we're going to add the loader here. Come back here. The moment I'm recording this, this library is taking a lot of time for loading all the icon. Social, you can see I'm searching, but it's not coming. It's taking some time. I don't know how they have optimized this particular platform, but you know the drill. What do you have to do? We have simply imported the icons a lot of time in our different components. So if I go back to the features, not in the feature, footer, header, here you can see, no, not in the header, in the hero section, here we have. So all we have to do is to simply import the icons, and the way we have called the icons, exactly that's the way we have to simply call it. So where is the icon we have called? If I simply call this find, no, we haven't used this icon here, but you know the drill, how you have to do it. That's a pretty easy, which I'm going to leave on you guys. Let's see. No, still we haven't got it. So that's the only thing I want to cover. Hope you guys have understood that what exactly we have done. This is absolutely amazing application which you have to include in your portfolio to understand how exactly the Uniswap contract work and how you can perform the swap. So this section is very important. The way we have built the logic, the way we are using the packages, the way we are getting this call data, the way we are getting all of this information. I want you to just spend some time. Once you complete this entire project, I want you to spend at least 2 days. Try to rebuild this strategy, because there is tons of way which you can simply build a model for provide a better swap, which can give them better return on their investment when they will swap the token. So this is a very good platform where you can do all the experiment and everything is dynamic. Okay, so with that, I'm ending this video, and I hope you guys have checked the course which I have launched, because that will teach you every single thing which you have to know about the blockchain development. And here you can see, before I take you there, here we have the icons. So if I want to get this one T2, I can simply click on this. I can copy that one. I can come back here. So let's quickly attach this so you guys can do it by your own. Here we got the icon. You can get as many icon as you want. If you want to get this LinkedIn, all you have to do is to simply get this one, come paste here, and here we have. So simply copy this one, and I can simply come all the way down. Here we have the rows. This is the copyright section we have. This is the icon. So simply do one thing, open this one, paste here, and close this up. And that's the only thing you have to do. If you come back here in the application, here it's mismatch, but that's a very easy fix. All you have to do is to remove this classes. So this is the classes we have. Remove this, and that will work fine. Here we got it. Or you can simply provide this FA, because that's going to be a internal class, not the font awesome class. And here we have. And you can remove that one, and you can simply replace in all the places, and it will work fine. So if I do that, let me show you. This one is going to be Twitter. You have to add it. Okay, I'm just doing it randomly, but you can simply do the modification. Got it? All the icons are displaying fine. Those lists were pretty good. So we have tested all of things. Let's do one more test final time before we actually leave it. If I click on this exchange, here we have the loader, opening the MetaMask, confirm, balance is 0. So this application looks good. Now I'm going to simply close this one, and come back here. the blockchain coder. Here you will find some valuable resources which you can simply get it. Make sure to come back here. So here I'm got it. Make sure to come and check this particular course. This will teach you every single thing which you have to know as a blockchain developer. So we have covered most of the important modules that we have written every single thing custom from here. So you will master solidity programming language, you will master some of the environment setup, you will master the project. This is the one of the biggest project you're going to build. You're going to learn about the data structure, that how you can interact with the multiple contract to build something big. And here we have this some crash courses about the important tools which you have to know, like MetaMask, Hardhat, Tailwind, React, CSS, HTML overview. So there is tons of things. And if you want to get the starter file of this particular project or the final code, you can simply come back here, go back to the course sections, and this is going to load out all the project we have built on our channel. So make sure to come and check. Here we have tons of project. Try to build at least 5 project for different industries. So we have the NFT, we have Uniswap, we have front end, we have back end. So check all of that. Once you do build 5 of them, you will have a complete understanding about the what are the tools and technology you have to get yourself familiar. So make sure to come and check all of that. And this is the project we have built. Click on that and you can get the starter file and the final code from here. So when you will take the final code, you're going to give your valuable contribution to our team, which is going to bring more courses like that. So I want you to come and have a look, spend some time and pick a project and start building. So hope you guys have got an amazing idea that what exactly we have built and what you're going to learn in this. So this is one of the projects which you have to include in your portfolio. With that, I'm ending this video. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.